Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. It is 11:04. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Alex, I think Brendan Donovan's going to get traded this offseason.
I think I agree with you, Brandon.
The more that we hear the reporting coming out of the general managers' meetings this week, the more I think it is not just speculation anymore. It is likely to happen by the end of the offseason.
Yep.
Derek Gould had a piece earlier today where he basically said, hey, I think something like 20 teams in Major League Baseball want Brendan Donovan.
Ooh, only 20? Where's the other 9?
He mentioned the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Guardians as 3 teams. He mentioned the Kansas City Royals as another team that could potentially be in play for Brendan Donovan. All of them make sense.
Don't go to the
Brendan
Dodgers.
Donovan makes sense for everybody, man. This was the case that we've been making for a while now. He can play first. He can play second. He can play third. He can play short in a pinch. He can play either corner outfield spot for you. He gets on base at a really high clip. He hits for a decent amount of average. He has some pop. He's probably not a player ideally that you would want in the middle of the order for a championship contender, but you could hit him first, second, fifth, or sixth for a legit contender, and he fits in with whatever it is that you're trying to build. So for all of those reasons and so many others, yeah, he's going to be a highly sought-after commodity. There was also the report yesterday from J.P. Morosi where he said, hey, I'm talking to a bunch of teams, and they all want a starting caliber outfielder. You can look to the free agency market this offseason. There's not a whole lot of starting caliber outfielders available. So this feels very similar to me to the opposite of the situation that the Cardinals were in when they went out and signed Dexter Fowler in free agency.
Oh, what a year that was.
I remember that offseason, Alex. I was doing the show at the time with Kevin Wheeler. And the Cardinals made it very clear. This used to be the way that the Cardinals offseason would go. They would make it clear to everybody that would listen, this is our priority in the offseason. We're going to go accomplish that goal. And it would typically be one. It was a pop gun offseason. Boop, boop, got it.
Is that what a pop gun sounds like?
Something like that.
It had like 2 noises to it.
Sometimes they would add a reliever.
No, it was one of those cork things. You just...
So the Cardinals would say, for example, well, we want a left-handed hitting outfielder who can get on base at a high clip to allow us to have that on-base percentage at the top to pair with Matt Carpenter. Cool. Preferably a center fielder. All right, there's like one guy that fits that criteria. Congratulations on either signing Dexter Fowler or trading for Adam Eaton. And Adam Eaton at the time was this sought-after commodity. Bunch of teams wanted him. He had club control. He could play anywhere in the outfield. He got on base at a high clip. He was relatively cheap. He was inexpensive.
Everybody in St. Louis wanted Adam Eaton.
He was a really good baseball player. And the Cardinals got spooked by the trade cost to acquire him. The reason why is because the Washington Nationals came in and said, we'll give up Dane Dunning and Reynaldo Lopez and Lucas Giolito, who at the time was one of the top prospects in baseball, one of the absolute highest level pitching prospects in Major League Baseball. And the White Sox said, we can't pass that one up. We've got to trade him. So they did, and ultimately it was a good trade for the White Sox, all things considered. I think Brendan Donovan this offseason could be for the Cardinals what Adam Eaton was for the White Sox. They could go out and get an absolute haul for him.
And if that's the case, that's why you have to pull the trigger, because I know there's a ton of people that see this and say, well, I don't want to trade Brendan Donovan. Brendan Donovan is a heart and soul type player. You can't lose that guy. Your team's going to be awful if you trade him away. Maybe now, but man, if you're talking, and I know Lucas Giolito never lived up to what the expectations were, but for about a 5-year stretch in Chicago, that dude looked like a star. So if you can make a trade for a Brendan Donovan and get something that at 22, 23 years old looks like he's ready to be in the major leagues in a rotation, and 2 years from now becomes a guy who's striking out 10 per 9, or a guy that at least you rely on to be a 2 or a 3 solidly for you for the next 5 years, that's a win if you're the Cardinals, because who knows what Brendan Donovan's going to be 29 next year and still in the prime of his career, I would say. But who knows what that's going to look like in 3 years when you're ready to get into that winning window. And if there's teams, and this is the best part, this is the main reason why you have to do this. You've got 20 teams fighting over him. You know what happens when everyone's fighting over Brendan Donovan that knows they're not going to get Kyle Tucker? Well, we got to up the ante, because if it's not Tucker and it's not Donovan, then what? So this is the prime real estate for Chaim Bloom to sit back in his chair, feet up on the desk, hands behind his head, and just swirl back and forth and be like, who's ready for Brendan Donovan? Because this is how you potentially, and that's the key word here, because you can't lose this trade, you could potentially fast track this retool that you're going for by trading Brendan Donovan.
This is how they acquire the controllable arm that they've been talking about of adding him and getting him into the core. Now, that doesn't mean he's necessarily a major league guy, but it could be like the Giolito, who I think was at AAA at the time, or AA when he was acquired. So that is what I think they're going to do. They're going to try and target someone like that in this package, or they maybe do, if he is a little bit further behind, he's got significant upside. But yeah, Alex is right. Because you've got 20, 15 teams fighting for him, and they can all have him, whether it is, hey, we need outfield help, okay, so we can bring Brendan Donovan. Okay, we want to improve just on the infield. Well, maybe our prospect's not ready to go. Okay, so Donovan can play second until the prospect's ready. Then we can put Donovan somewhere else when the prospect is. He provides so much versatility, and if he gets too expensive, if it is like Cleveland or the Royals, and I don't know that this would be the case, but if he did happen to get a little too expensive for him, they can trade him again. They've got 3 years of control for Brendan Donovan. He is definitely going to be not here in St. Louis because he is going to get moved this offseason.
Can I interest you in a Noah Cameron? I was messaging with a buddy today who covers the Kansas City Royals, and I said, hey, do you think that Donnie makes as much sense for the Cardinals as some are, or excuse me, for the Royals as some are making it to believe? And he said, absolutely. Because the reason why, Alex, is they could then use the rest of their offseason. Like, if they got this done quickly, they could use the rest of their offseason to decide what makes more sense for us, what's possible. Could we go out and get a second baseman or an outfielder? Because Donnie can fill in whatever position they can't find via the market. So he allows you the ultimate flexibility the rest of the offseason. I said, all right, well, what do you think it would look like if they were to make some kind of a move? And he said, man, I'd be really hard-pressed to trade Noah Cameron in a trade for like this, but I think that's probably the asking price. So Noah Cameron, for those that aren't familiar, he's a left-handed starting pitcher for the Royals. He's 26 years old. He was not a top prospect in Major League Baseball, but he came up last year after having a lot of success in the minors for a couple of seasons and just kept having success. He started 24 games for the Royals last year with a 2.99 ERA. Now, under the hood, there was maybe some fool's gold going on. He doesn't have crazy swing and miss stuff, but he's got a dynamic pitch with his breaking ball. It's a really good pitch for him, and it induces some level of swing and miss. So I think he probably long-term is more of a 3 or a 4 for a really good pitching staff. He would probably be your second-best starter behind Sonny Gray. And honestly, next year, if Sonny's not here, he probably is your opening day starter, if we're being real. He's better than Matthew Liberatore. He's better than what you already have right now, and Michael McGreevy, Kyle Leahy, Andre Palante. He'd be that level of pitcher. And he's got, I think, 5 more years of club control as well. He's in the pre-arb process right now. That's the kind of return you could be talking about with Brendan Donovan. Is that the kind of thing you'd be looking for? Or are you aiming for more upside with a lower level prospect that's not ready to pitch right now at the major league level?
I think I'm aiming for more upside, but man, it's hard to pass up on this because he's 25, 26 years old. He's had all of the success in the minor leagues and 5 years of control. And I mean, the bigger question I'd have is there something that you feel like you can untap with him that Kansas City maybe didn't in terms of the swing and miss?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he kind of is what he is.
And I really wouldn't have a whole lot of confidence in the Cardinals doing that, but I'd ask the question. I think in my mind, I'm looking at Brendan Donovan as probably the most desirable asset out there via trade. So I'd be hoping for a little bit more or a higher ceiling for the return. But if this is what they fall back on, this isn't a lost trade. It's just one that I'd be like, you have to hope for success down the road rather than
you
thinking.
like Quinn Priester, right?
I like Quinn Priester in Milwaukee.
I think this is basically Quinn Priester's profile, but I don't think they're very different.
But it worked in Milwaukee because I trust Milwaukee's staff and getting the best out of that pitcher, and I just don't know if I do that for the Cardinals.
See, I think Dusty Blake's a really good pitching coach.
I also think this guy's already developed. Like the Quinn Priester, 24, 25 years old, he's at a similar spot in his career to where Noah Cameron is today. Their numbers last year are remarkably similar. I mean, couldn't be a whole lot more similar as starting pitchers. if you like Quinn Priester, just the overall production, I think the Cardinals would get very similar results out of Noah Cameron to what the Brewers are getting out of Quinn Priester, because I think they're very similar.
Yeah.
And if that's something that would appeal to you, I think it would make a lot of sense in the return for Brendan Donovan. But I think this is going to be the conversation internally. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think the Cardinals will have a lot of different offers to consider. Do we want a pitcher that is ready for the major leagues that has already shown us success? If so, this is the kind of pitcher you're probably looking at. A little lower in terms of the upside. He's probably never going to be more than a 3 for a contender in Noah Cameron, that kind of pitcher. Or you go to somebody that's like in high A ball right now that has crazy swing and miss stuff, big time velo, but it's a projection. He may never reach the big league level. And if he does, it might be as a reliever. There's that risk with some of these upside plays. So it's more certainty, but lower ceiling versus less certainty, higher ceiling. I think those are the kinds of offers that you're going to have on the table for a guy like Brendan Donovan.
And I think you have the higher ceiling stuff right now in your system, so maybe you need certainty, especially if you're going to decide to move on from Sonny Gray. You want certainty right now in the rotation. So, again, would I be looking for a little bit more? Absolutely, because it sounds like everybody wants Donovan. But if this is the safety net, if this is the fallback, like, hey, we're going to talk around Kansas City, but if this is here for us, we'll give you a call. It's a pretty good spot to be in if you're the Cardinals.
Can you imagine if the Cardinals finished this offseason trading for Noah Cameron and signing Dylan Cease?
And can I add one more?
Go ahead.
Trading for Fernando Tatis Jr. You want to know what Bobby Boogie just tweeted?
Oh, God.
The San Diego Padres ownership family today has announced that they have decided to initiate a formal process to explore strategic options for the Padres of a potential sale of their franchise.
Oh, well.
Wow.
No wonder why they're looking at exploring trades.
Oh, wow.
95%, ladies and gentlemen, he is coming to St. Louis.
I mean, that changes things a lot.
Yeah.
That's when you see teams have fire sales on. Now, granted, most teams, when they have the fire stuff, don't have as much trade protection on their guys like they do.
Okay. We were going to talk Mizzou.
No, we're talking Tatis, baby.
Yeah! Here, I can break down Mizzou for you.
Whoa,
They won by 25 last night.
It took 35 minutes to get things figured out for them.
It
Minnesota
took 25.
stinks in the Big Ten.
Minnesota is a mediocre basketball team, and Mizzou beat them by 25. The line was 7.5.
Your team has 50-year-olds playing that say they're 18.
Yeah.
So
enough out of you. I gave your team credit when they deserved it. Let's go ahead and give my team credit when they
You
deserve it as
literally
well.
sat in the audience and said, I don't know what to make of this Mizzou team.
let's talk about the big trade that's going to happen for the Cardinals.
All right. He's Tanner Hendrickson. That's Alex Ferrario. I'm Brandon Kiley. T-Bone's a hater. I'm going to get punished later today because I suck at picking football games. So we'll get into that later on today as well. Joey Vitale joining us coming up at 11:30. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. YouTube is available for you, as always, at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Coming up next, the Padres are looking at selling the team. What does that mean? And how could it factor into the Cardinals' offseason plans? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's. Look, this is how it goes in St. Louis. We had winter, and now we're back to fall weather. It's 70 degrees outside. It's perfect for you to go out to Ted Drew's and check out that famous frozen custard off of Chippewa, open daily. That has been a St. Louis tradition since 1929. Fourth-generation, family-run business that has been built on quality service and a love for St. Louis. And boy, does St. Louis show their love back, because there's always a line at Ted Drew's, and it's a fast line. You're only there for a couple of minutes before you got that frozen custard. But then in the parking lot, it's just tons of people hanging out, being around each other, and starting those family traditions, those traditions with friends, specifically around the holiday season. You see so many people out there at Ted Drew's. So get in on those generational traditions that still are taking place out at Ted Drew's famous frozen custard. Check out the specialty flavors, mix and match flavors, or buy it in the quart size, bring it home, stuff it in your freezer, and then you've got it for all the holidays coming up and the get-togethers that you're going to be having with friends and family. While you're there, too, walk across the parking lot, check out the gift shop, check out the History Museum, where you could see St. Louis memorabilia, Route 66 memorabilia, Ted Drew's. You can buy Ted Drew's apparel and Ted Drew's gift card. 96 years, 4 generations, families have been serving St. Louisans that famous frozen custard. Ted Drew's unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
All right, new report has just been posted. The San Diego Padres are looking to either add new investors or to sell the team entirely. This is the release from the San Diego Padres. The Seidler family today announced that it has decided to initiate a, quote, formal process to explore strategic options for the San Diego Padres, including a potential sale of the franchise. This decision follows months of careful consideration and consultation with trusted advisors. The club has engaged with 2 different partners, trusted advisors to family and founder-led businesses, to guide this process. The firm will oversee the process to ensure that it is conducted in a disciplined and professional manner. The family and the Padres do not intend to comment further until the process has concluded. Ken Rosenthal tweeting out very simply, Padres could be sold. This is huge news in Major League Baseball. Now, we'll get to the Cardinals side of things here in just a moment, but T-Bone, you said from a big picture baseball sense, you find this to be really interesting. Why?
Yeah, I find it fascinating because we have seen a handful of teams get through this process where they get posted to the market, and I think it's 3 of the last 5 or 4 of the last 5 did not sell.
And
the most
Twins
recent
were one,
Twins,
Angels.
Washington, Nationals, and Angels were the last 3. And
Weren't
then
the Orioles too?
No, because they sold and Kansas City sold. I think those are the 2. So I think it's 3 of the last 5. And the reason I find it interesting is because, one, the Padres do not have a TV deal. They are through Major League Baseball. So you've got to deal with the fact of, okay, I don't know what my TV situation looks like moving forward. 2, a lot of reports, at least what first led to this, was, hey, the Padres are like swimming in debt right now, and that could lead to the Tatis deal. Well, that's what the Twins were. The Twins were swimming in debt, and that's why they put themselves on the market. And then the third is you've got this looming Major League Baseball lockout. And I don't know if someone would want to pay, billions of dollars for a Major League Baseball team in San Diego, not knowing what the result of this lockout's going to be. Are you going to get a season in 2027? Or is the first year that I own a Major League Baseball team, there's no baseball, and I'm just I just spent billions of dollars, and I'm bringing in $0 in revenue. So I find this fascinating to see if the Padres can get sold. My guess right now would be they're going to take more of what BK said there at the beginning. They're probably going to bring on more of like 20% investors rather than someone to buy the full team, just to help them get out from some of this debt that they could be occurring right now on some of these reports.
Once you get past 2027.
And then maybe you go from there and you post the team for sale, because that's what the Twins did. The Twins really wanted to sell that team, and then they couldn't get people to invest the money that they wanted for it. So instead they settled for, I think it was 20%. Two people came on and bought 20% of the team. That helped them kind of settle their debts to try and figure things out from there.
It's worth noting, San Diego, quite a different market than Minnesota.
And that's why I think it's a little bit interesting as well.
DC is something that throws me off a little bit. Like, the Nationals should have been a more sought-after commodity than they ultimately appeared to be. Angels are a different thing entirely. They're the second biggest team in their own market. So this is an interesting one. The Padres are currently committed for 2028. So this is 3 seasons from now. 2028, $152 million are already guaranteed committed for that roster.
I know how you can cut some out.
There are only 12 teams in Major League Baseball with $150 million committed to next year's roster. We're talking about 3 years from now being committed to those players. So this is where it gets interesting to me for the Cardinals. Even if T-Bone's right and they end up going down this path of just bringing on investors. Typically, when you get new voices into the mix, especially as owners, they do not want to be swimming in the waters that the Padres have been swimming in. This part of why I think they deserve credit is because it was a clear initiative from the Seidler family. We are trying to win right now. We believe in this team. We believe in this organization. We believe that this community is worthy of investing in. And we think, as a civic pride, it would be a good thing for this town to win a championship. And so first it was Peter Seidler, and then eventually the Seidler family they were willing to spend whatever necessary in order to bring that to San Diego. Those incentives change a bit when the original owner, Peter Seidler, has passed, and then his family comes into the team, and now you're potentially either selling or adding new investors with significant say in the matter who might be money guys more than they are baseball guys. So that's where it gets interesting. The biggest financial commitments on their roster for next season are Xander Bogaerts. No chance they can trade that contract. Manny Machado, I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere, and I certainly don't think he's coming here to St. Louis. I also am not sure that's a tradable contract, considering it becomes $40 million per year AAV starting next season. That's not easy. The other big contracts on their books. Nick Pivetta, he's making $20 million this year. I think you could trade that deal.
Agreed.
Yu Darvish, $16 million this year and then $15 million each of the next 2 years. That's not tradable.
And he's also out this entire season.
Yeah.
Jake Cronenworth, $12 million each of the next 5 seasons. You could maybe trade that deal, but you'd have to eat some of it. $6 million next year for Ramon Laureano. You could probably trade it, eat a little bit, but whatever. That's not really doing a whole lot for you. The deal that is tradable, that has a lot of money still to spend in future seasons and this year, is Fernando Tatis Jr.
And it's the one that's probably going to get you the best return because he's younger than all of those guys that you mentioned, and he's a better performer than all of those guys that you just mentioned.
Tatis is he's going to cost them $20 million this year, $20 next year, 25 in 2028, and then it starts to spike. Goes up to $36 million in 2029 and 2030 and beyond. I don't know what they're going to do here. No, none of us do. But I certainly don't anticipate they're going to trade with the Dodgers.
No.
Why not, man?
And the only reason I even bring that up is because typically, if the Padres were in the AL East, I would just immediately assume, oh, congratulations, Padres, you got Fernando Tatis Jr. the same way you did with Mookie Betts. Or an ownership group decides they're going to be cheap now, and then you get them for free, right? So the Dodgers go ahead and cross them off. I don't know how many teams are legitimately in play for him. I don't know if they would trade him in the National League. Maybe the Cardinals aren't even an option for Fernando Tatis Jr. Maybe it's just going to be the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Astros or the Texas Rangers. That's possible. Maybe the Miami Marlins say, this is our chance. Maybe the Phillies, who need an outfielder, are going to be
Remember,
in on
though,
this.
he has a no-trade clause.
Exactly. And so he's going to get some say in where he decides to go. This is a fascinating one, man. I'll tell you this, the Cardinals have the kind of capital to make this trade.
Yeah.
Very few teams do. But if they want to just like put all of it on the table, they want to go after Fernando Tatis Jr. and say, this is our dude, we're building around him for the next decade. They could do it.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of teams can. And he would be the guy that I would do it for.
Then they should do it. I mean, I understand the financial side of it, but this is the guy that you have said that it's hard to find a superstar in Major League Baseball when you draft. These guys don't become available very often. I think we had the same conversation about Juan Soto. The difference was that guy was a pending free agent, and you were going to have to sign him to a big contract. The job's already done here. He signed. If he wants to be here, which is the biggest caveat, I know everybody's probably saying he doesn't want to come to St. Louis. Who knows? If he wants to, this is the guy the Cardinals go after. You want to be the Toronto Blue Jays? This is how you start the blueprint, because you have to find an MVP caliber player. He plays the position that, frankly, you need in terms of a corner outfielder. He's the middle of the order bat that you've talked a lot about, and he's in the age bracket that you have talked about. He's not 29, 30, 31 years old. He's 26 years old. He's right in line with the window that you're planning around some of these other pieces. Is it going to cost you a lot? Hell yeah. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
And to BK's point on, you've got the pieces to make this happen. Knowing AJ Preller, now maybe this changes because they are for sale, but Preller will still want to try and be somewhat competitive. And if that's the case, he can take on more cost control guys like a Donovan, like a Nootbaar, a Burleson, if that's what he so pleases, to help try and fill this void and improve their offense while sending out Fernando Tatis. This is the kind of move, it's different because this guy's got the contract, but this is the kind of move that ownership used to do. Okay, there's a star that becomes available because their club doesn't want them.
Bingo.
You can kind of get them. This guy will be more pricey, but you can go out and make this trade. This is what they did for Matt Holliday. This is what they did for Paul Goldschmidt. This is what they did for Arenado, who, by the way, did have the contract. Now, they had to negotiate how that was going to get paid, and thank you, Colorado, but this is the kind of moves that they used to do, and now you have everything. You have the most critical part of building your lineup out for the next decade in place. And now you also know what he's going to cost for the next decade in his contract. You can move every piece that you need around and figure out what you're going to need to do to build around him.
Somebody on the text line said, there's no way they trade for him unless you were willing to include Weatherholt and Doyle. And who really wants to do that? I would.
I would do it.
Yeah, I say he's a superstar.
I don't want to do super hesitant to include Liam Doyle in that scenario, but like, this is your pillar. You're looking for guys that you can build the franchise around. The Cardinals' problem for close to 15 years now, probably let's go with a decade. The Cardinals' problem for the last decade is that they don't have a true superstar player that they can build around. This is that. Fernando Tatis Jr. would give you that. Now, what is the likelihood of this happening? It's slim.
95%.
It's incredibly slim. And I'm not trying to sell you on, like, this is going to happen. This is what the Cardinals will do this offseason. Most of this is in Fernando Tatis Jr.'s hands. He gets to decide where he goes, the same way that Nolan Arenado in previous years, including when he came here to St. Louis, got to decide where he was ultimately going to play. And is Tatis going to choose the Cardinals over the Texas Rangers or the Houston Astros or the Yankees or the Mets or the Phillies or all of these different teams? My guess would be no. His father played here. Maybe that's a selling point for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But if we're just looking at it through a pure baseball lens, this is exactly the kind of move the Cardinals have made in their history. It is the kind of move they're probably going to have to make in the future, and they have the assets to make it happen. If that meant trading J.J. Weatherholt, guys, I like J.J. Weatherholt as well. I would do that. If that means trading Mason Wynn, do it. If that means including Brendan Donovan in this package instead of going to get the starting pitcher for him, do it. If that means Newt or Burleson or Herrera have to go, well, guess what? The guy that I am trying to have those players become is Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, if J.J. Weatherholt becomes 50% as good as Fernando Tatis, it is a overwhelming win.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, even for J.J. Weatherholt becoming what Tatis Jr. was when he was an A-ball is a pipe dream. Like, this is a superstar. Weatherholt is a unknown with the potential of being a star. We've talked about that. We've had Keith Law say, yeah, he's a guy that's capable of being a star for you. That's not a superstar. This is a MVP caliber player. these guys don't become available, let alone come available at 26 years old.
He also has the it factor. And I don't know how you value that. Maybe not a whole lot. But for me, it has some value. He's the kind of guy I pay to go see at a ballpark.
Oh, yeah. He puts butts in the seats.
They don't have that right now on the roster outside of maybe you could argue Mason Wynn. But even Mason Wynn, he ain't this dude. This guy every year, 30 stolen bases, 25 plus home runs, hits 270, finishes the year 25 to 30% above league average at a minimum. Like this guy is special. And that's what they've been lacking. They've been lacking special, unique talents on their roster. This would become one of those players for you. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but we can spend 10 minutes talking about it here on November 13th.
I'm Mr. 95%. It's going to happen.
Because the news just being announced, the Padres are looking to potentially sell the franchise, which means stuff like this suddenly is on the table when I didn't think it was going to previously. Alongside T-Bone and Alex, I'm BK. Coming up next, Joey Vitale here on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tomorrow night when they host the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage tomorrow starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario. Then puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And our Blues analyst Joey Vitale joins us next here on 101 ESPN. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Collier and Thompson hotline as we do each and every week to be joined by our friend, the Blues analyst for 101 ESPN, and of course, for FanDuel Sports Midwest on their simulcast. He's Joey Vitale joining us here on BK and Ferrario. Joey, appreciate the time, man. How you doing today?
Joey! Joey Vitale, you're awesome!
What's going on, boys? What's going on? I'm doing okay. You know, I had an interaction, a couple this morning, actually. I don't know if you guys get this a lot, but, you know, people complaining about the weather.
Oh,
I mean,
get the hell out of here.
This has got to stop, folks.
Amen.
This has got to stop. I mean, listen, 2 weeks ago, we're like, oh, I'm so tired of the heat. Can it just be fall already? And then it, like, drops down and it's cold last week, and people are like, oh, we just don't have fall. And then this morning, I think we got a good mix. A little chilly in the morning, going to be heating up later. Some girl comes up to me and says, when is it going to warm up today? People.
Joey found his breaking point.
Yeah, I get that we can't control this thing, and nothing itches a human more like something that is out of our control, but we got to pump the brakes. I mean, I'm all about expressing our emotions here, and I think the weather really is a safe place for us to express those emotions. But, I mean, come on, folks. Let's just enjoy where we're at.
Joe, you should be like me when you go out and you don't want to hear people complain. Just put headphones on, man.
Sunday into Monday, I think it's fair to complain about, Joe.
No, get the hell out of here.
No, the last few days, this is fantastic. I got zero questions, zero concerns, zero frustrations with what today was.
No, you can't complain.
60 degrees out there, man. It's mid-November.
You
This
can't
is great.
complain when it's hot out, when it gets cold out, and then you can't complain when it's cold out that you want it to get warmer out.
No, Sunday into Monday it was cold. I have a cold because of it.
Oh, see, Joey, the guy you're complaining about is BK.
Oh, geez, you went there. Okay, you went there. Here's another one then. The cold weather does not make you sick, people. Can we?
Oh, it does. It does, Joe.
No, it doesn't. Finally, put this to bed. Like, you know, this idea that cold weather makes you sick. No, it's nonsense. It's
How do you explain it then, Joe?
It's because too many people are inside with less windows open, less airflow. That's where
it couldn't possibly be my 2-year-old bringing home all of his germs from his preschool. That couldn't possibly be the thing that got me sick.
God forbid. It must be the chilly breeze. I mean, can you imagine all of our ancestors thousands of years ago being outside? Oh, guess it's winter. We're all going to get sick since no one can be inside in the heat. Come on.
That's like the parents that give you dirty looks when, like, I have to run into something really quick and my daughter refuses to put her jacket on, and so I pick her up and I say, we're going to run inside. They give you dirty looks like, you're not putting the jacket on your child?
That drives me crazy.
That is like World War III in our household. You know, you're going to school, you know you need a jacket. Like, you're going for a walk. It's like,
but, Joe, you're not allowed to have the jacket on in the car seat, so we have to have it on from the moment that we walk out the door till we get to the car, and then we've got to take it off where you're going to have the door open, and they're going to be standing there longer than if we had just run to the car. Sorry, we've never had this conversation in our household.
Oh, I need a podcast. You guys are on it.
Joe, I got the greatest idea. I got an idea that BK has just completely poo-pooed all over. It's called Dad Pod. It's like Dad Bod, but Dad Pod, and all we talk about are dad stories.
That's it. I'm in.
Boom.
I'm in 100%.
I had a lady come up
Joey,
to me.
Careful. You are doing a million different things. Do not get yourself wrangled into another, man.
I had a parent walk up to me, Joe, at a dance class. This was last winter, and my youngest, Olivia, she was like 7 months at the time. You'd put socks on her. She refused to have them on. We're inside. She wore the socks outside. She took them off. I had a lady walk up, and she goes, you should probably put the socks on your daughter's toes. They're going to get cold. I'm like, oh, jeez, you got to be freaking kidding me.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's another territory. Kids not putting shoes on. Can you imagine an adult doing that? Like, can you imagine, like, getting ready to leave and one of your buddies refuses to put his shoes on so you can't go to dinner? Like, can we go? Like, our reservation's at 6 p.m. We can't. Trevor won't put his freaking shoes on.
Trevor's being an idiot again. He won't put his socks on.
Like, put your shoes on. What's going on? What's going on in the world? Anyway.
All right, so Joe,
there's hockey to talk about.
We got about 3 minutes left with you. We'll talk a little bit of hockey. The Blues have earned a point in 5 of their last 7 games. How should I feel about them right now, Joe?
You should feel good. I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to feel. I mean, that kind of goes back to what we said about the weather thing. You know, you got to feel the way you feel. You know, one thing I've learned in life, you can never change how someone feels. You're never going to get someone to do something they don't want to do. That's just plain and simple.
Especially putting their shoes on when they're 3.
Or pants.
Exactly. You know, how do I feel? I'll tell you how I feel. I feel positive. I feel optimistic. I feel that this is a team that's still right there. You know, I know it seems doom and gloom. I think that the doom and gloom comes from, something that robs us of joy, expectation, right? Expectations were high. I mean, you want expectations to be high. Every team's got expectations. The Colorado Avalanche had expectations in the same way that the Calgary Flames had expectations. Now, both teams have gone different directions. So the Blues, it's okay to have expectations, but I just think that maybe some of our expectations coming into this season, maybe they were a little unfair. You know, maybe we got really excited about a team that was seconds away from going to the second round. So I say that because now you bring this home, maybe the expectations were very high. This is a hard league to win in. It's a great division, and the Blues are still growing. They're still retooling. They're still re-whatevering. I mean, it's going to take some time. You just have Jimmy Snuggerud, Dalibor Dvorsky. He hasn't even played 10 games yet. You bring in Logan Mayo, who had less than 10 games. I mean, you felt good about your season, but also you had a lot of youth and you had a lot of question marks. So I think that that's where we probably should have been a couple months ago, but here we are. So with all that being said, we're still just, a few points out of a playoff spot. It is November, and I'm looking at details of this team that they haven't really even scratched the surface of their potential yet. So that's a positive. Right? You're not like the Flames. You're not way out of it right now. You're still in the mix. You're still close. And you have things that are in your control that really haven't come to fruition just yet. Dylan Holloway, it's coming, right? He's starting to really turn it on. We need him to continue to get going. That's one. Pavel Buchnevich, I mean, this is a team, again, a few points out of a playoff spot. He hasn't had a 5-on-5 goal yet. That's going to change soon, right? There's things that are coming. The goaltending situation, I know they were not great for 4 or 5 games in the mix there. That is not who they are, right? What you out of Bennington making 38 saves last game, what you saw out of Joel Hofer getting a shutout versus the Buffalo Sabres, that's who they are. That's really who they are. The other stuff were just some bumps in the road. So all that considering, BK, I feel good about this team. And I feel like at the end of the day, the cream will always come to the top. And I think the Blues have enough cream, and it will come together.
So you mentioned Buchnevich, and I think a lot of people, Joey, have focused in on Kyrou, Thomas, Buchnevich. Buch not having the even strength goal. I think they've combined for 5 even strength goals between those 3. Do you feel like all 3 of those guys are inching closer to what we expected at the beginning of the year?
I do. I really do. I think that certainly Jordan Kyrou has taken some really good strides over the last couple of games. He's starting to defend better. You're starting to see the speed. I think that healthy scratch a few games ago really got his attention. I think Robert Thomas, he was dealing with upper body injury where he missed 4 games. I think that he's starting to see those spurts upcoming. And Pavel Buchnevich as well. I mean, listen, defensively, he's been one of Jim Montgomery's best forwards. You look at, 6-on-5 the last 2 games, he's out there, defending leads, playing manageable minutes and important minutes. He's there because, I know the point production isn't quite where he wants it for Jim or for Pavel, but there are spurts that are coming. I think that, one thing that is kind of on the horizon too with Jake Neighbors coming back relatively soon here. He's got some time left, but yeah, when he comes back, that to me is going to really create a spark on this offense. And then maybe everyone can kind of, feed off of that energy, and then everyone can kind of like fill back in where they belong. So that injury, I think, has tripped up some of these top guys there as well. So that's kind of coming too. So all in all, with that being said, I am optimistic. I do believe that, they are on their way there, those top 3 guys. And the most important thing is that they know they have to be better. They know they have to be there consistently on the score sheet every single night. I mean, you look around the league. Let's just look at the top team in the league, for example, of the Colorado Avalanche. You look at the ticker after every game. whenever they win, you just expect to see McKinnon on the score sheet, right? And he is there. And when he's there with just one assist, like, geez, tough night for McKinnon, but he's still there on those nights. And then, of course, he has the blow-up nights where he gets 4 points, or he gets a hat trick, or he gets 2 goals. I mean, those are the kind of consistent things you need to see from your top guys. The Blues have not seen that from the top guys just yet. And, like I said, if they want to go anywhere, they're going to figure it out.
The Blues are off tonight. Joey Vitale back on the call tomorrow. Blues versus the Philadelphia Flyers. Back-to-back, Alex. Friday, Saturday, both night games against the Flyers and against the Vegas Golden Knights. You don't see that a whole lot, but you do see it 2 of the next 3 weeks here in St. Louis.
Nothing like a little
nice
Black Friday and Saturday post-Thanksgiving back-to-back.
For the Blues fans to get out there at Enterprise Center. Joe, appreciate the time as always, my friend. Looking forward to hearing you guys on the call tomorrow night.
Yep.
Appreciate you hopping on with us today.
Dad Pod next week, Joe. We'll record.
Dad Pod, we can talk about when it's appropriate to decorate for Christmas. I'm starting today. Get on it.
Get the hell out of here, Joe. Episode number 2. That's trash.
Joe, we already put ours out yesterday. I'm ashamed to say it. I'm ashamed. My son said we had to do it. We did it.
No.
Yes, BK. All right, you're back in my good graces.
Appreciate you, Joe. Take it easy.
See you,
It's
buddy.
Joey Vitale joining us as he does each and every Thursday here on BK and Ferrario. It was not my decision. I did not choose to do this. Luca saw something when we went down to do some laundry in our storage. He saw the gingerbread bin and said, we got to take these upstairs.
Teach him properly, man. Say, no, buddy. Christmas doesn't happen until after we celebrate the turkey.
You know what 2-year-olds are really good at is logic and reason.
Yes.
And then using that to control their emotions.
You pick that gingerbread up and you say, you see this? Trash can. Not until Black Friday.
Yeah,
I put mine
today,
up
he
2
went
weeks ago.
full exorcist in trying to get a shirt on. So I probably wasn't going to do
And
that
you
with the
opted
gingerbread
on
man,
not
yes.
putting a shirt on him and letting him go to school shirtless.
Today was rough this morning. All right, he's Alex's
happens.
T-Bone on BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. If you missed our conversation with Joey Vitale, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, the free 101 ESPN app. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. We'll get to your questions via the text line coming up next year on 101 ESPN. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers from Mahomes Longbody. Guys, which of you is the man of the house, BK or Luka? Obviously, that's a dumb question. It's clearly Luka. Yeah.
What does everybody have to say? Well, who's the man of the house?
Well, I was just taking that as a
okay.
joking.
Sorry, I took it a little personal. People are like, oh, happy wife, happy life. Who's the man of the house?
You've been getting frustrated rather quickly this morning. BK had been that way the last 2 days.
I'm in a great place today.
Yeah, I have no. He hasn't been all angry.
I actually was pretty fine today. I don't know why. I just get frustrated.
No.
Look,
I know you get frustrated.
I'm not afraid to express my emotions, if that's what you're upset about, T-Bone. So I'm sorry that you're afraid to express emotions. I let it out.
You're really heating up the room like BK did last 2
Dude,
days.
he made it hot a couple days ago.
From the 314. Guys, not a question for you. Just wanted to say thanks for talking about your kids. Mine didn't want to take his pants off, put them on for bedtime the other night, and we got a flailing foot to the man area. Gladly alone.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Our middle, you know what she's into now, Emma. Put her in her room at night. She's in her PJs. Close the door. Tell her good night. She is into taking everything off and then changing her clothes about every 5 minutes. So then when we come in the next morning, there's probably like 15 different outfits laid on the floor, and she's sleeping in clothes.
All right. From Nikolai, I think is how you say that. Nikolai from St. Chuck. What's up, guys? Any thoughts on the Fast Lane segment yesterday on Drink's quote about the CFP? We will get into that coming up, I believe, in the 1 o'clock hour today. So
if
be
BK
sure to stay
makes it
tuned
that
for
long.
that. My very brief elevator pitch on it. Yeah, I disagree with them. And they're not surprised by that. I've told them that. My thought, and T-Bone and I see this differently as well. So it's not me just calling out the Fast Lane guys. I think this is a much bigger conversation about society at large. But if we're just specifying it to college football, we have become way too black and white, way too all or nothing on what does and does not matter. I don't believe that it is healthy as a college football fan to view, especially at a program like Mizzou or Illinois or anywhere else similar to that, to view every season as college football playoff or bust. And that kind of feels the way that it's been happening at Mizzou over the last 3 seasons, is every year you either get in or you failed. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation at Mizzou. And I say that as a Mizzou grad and somebody that loves Mizzou and covers this team. It's a good program. Every few years, if you have a chance to make it to the college football playoff, that's a pretty good spot to be in as a program. So I don't think that it's reasonable to expect it every season, and then if you don't get in, it's a failure, personally.
Yeah.
Did you want us to back you there, buddy? Or
No, I was going to say, do we want to save my thoughts till 1 o'clock or not? But
okay.
We can save them for 1 o'clock.
Save them.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line
Tatis, baby.
for questions and answers from the 618. Did I miss BK eating the nasty sandwich? I thought he said it was happening on Monday. I could be dumb and I missed it. No, happening this week, happening today, actually. We'll do that during the junk drawer coming up at 12:45 today. So if you want to see me eat the most disgusting possible...
Just so we all are on the same. If you need to vomit, let's get it on camera for the thumbnil.
No, please.
It's
If you vomit, I am an emotional puker.
You both are going to do it.
I will vomit if you vomit. I will vomit if you vomit, man.
So it's,
oh God,
it's a mayo. God, just saying it. Mayo, butter, and onion.
Yeah, it's extra gelatinous mayo too. Like it jiggles when you move it. And the onion, I got yellow onion because I think those are the ones that taste the nastiest raw.
Why? No, it's a white onion, man.
No. I went yellow. Yellows taste worse.
314
I was going to give you a red, but that's being too nice.
9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. Guys, last year when Army went out and got Fowler, do you foresee him having a similar kind of a move this year?
No, because trading for Fowler, you had a blatant weakness. You needed somebody who could play 26 minutes. I don't know if you have a obvious weakness on this team. I think scoring has been a problem. That's hopefully going to come at some point, and you're not going to go trade for another top forward. Third pair defense, you're not going to trade for a third pair defense who could play 20-plus minutes because they want Tucker and Kessel to play, and the hope is Mayo gets back. So if they make a trade, it's just going to be a big name out and a big name in. I don't think those happen like Fowler happened.
He's T-Bone. That's Alex. I'm BK. Coming up next, what are the Cardinals' catching plans for this offseason? We'll get into it here on BK and Ferrario.
BK, we got Thursday night football tonight. Football season in full swing, and you can make entries and win money right now in the state of Missouri by using the Underdog app. This one's a little personal for me because it's also in my Survivor play, but let's get into the Underdog. First thing I do, I open up the app, 50% profit boost. Everybody applaud that one.
Love that.
So then I go to the Thursday night football game, and here's my play. I am saying higher on rush yards for Breece Hall. It's sitting 57.5. Higher on Drake May passing yards at 238.5. I'm going lower on Fields passing yards, and I'm going higher on a Travion Henderson rushing touchdown. All of that, 11 times the odds.
Love to see that. Last night, I was able to get my picks, Alex, in the Mizzou basketball game, so I hit that last night. If you want to go over to the Underdog app today, you could get, I've got right now a no-sweat picks, my win, or get the bonus funds back over in the app. I've also got a 50% profit boost. You could put in some tennis picks, soccer picks. It's all over there for you on the Underdog app. Download it today. Sign up using our promo code. That's BKO, promo code BKO. You could score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code BKO. Underdog. Make plays, win money. Must be 18 or older, present in Missouri. Terms to apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, over in Derek Gould's piece in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch earlier today, he wrote about how teams across Major League Baseball have some interest in a lot of the Cardinals. Nolan Arenado, according to him, the Cardinals are willing to eat a sizable portion of his salary in order to make a move happen. He also reported in his piece earlier today that Nolan Arenado has significantly expanded his options of teams that he's willing to consider this offseason. He also then added that Sonny Gray, the Cardinals are willing to pay down a sizable portion of his contract as well. Just as an aside here, if that's true, they could get a really good prospect in return for Sonny Gray. Because if you make him like a $15 million pitcher, that's less than the qualifying offer. And he's better than the pitchers, for the most part, that got the qualifying offer this offseason. It's a one-year deal with a potential club option at the back end of it as well for opposing teams. Man, that is a very compelling option for, 20 teams across Major League Baseball. Obviously, Sonny wouldn't be willing to go to all of them, but if you can get a couple that he's willing to go to that are getting into a bidding war, you could get an actual prospect for him now.
Can I make a side note on that real quick?
Please.
If that's true, this is a blemish on John Mozeliak's tenure, right?
You're talking about the Cardinals ownership
willing to eat more money on these players.
I think it is one of two things. And you can read into this what you will as a Cardinals fan. One scenario is, yes, it's a blemish on John Mozeliak's resume. And it would signify to me, maybe Mo wasn't quite as willing or interested in fighting those battles as he once was. So instead of going to ownership, he thought, there's other stuff that I would rather go to them about than trying to fight every inch for this. And now that you have a new president of baseball operations in the mix, he's going to the DeWitts and explaining, this is why we have to do what I'm asking for. And he's willing to fight every battle right now, so that way over time he can learn which battles can I fight, which ones do I not, right? You know this with your wife, Alex. 10 years ago, you probably would fight different battles than you would today. There are certain stuff that 10 years ago you'd say, I'm willing to fight tooth and nail for this, that today you're like, it's not even worth the conversation, right? So there could be some of that there. And that, to me, would be a blemish. It suggests, hey, he wasn't willing to fight as much as he once was.
He didn't love us anymore.
The other scenario here,
Can you blame him?
and this might be possible, is that the ownership group is looking at this with more of a clear mind than they have in the past. And they have come to the realization we have to do this because if we don't, we're screwed. And we have no other option. We are finally, for the first time, going in a new direction as an organization, which they've never done before. And so if you're going to go down that path, you've got to be all in on it, man. And that means making decisions like this. So I don't know which of those is true here, but those to me are the two paths that they might be going down.
Yeah.
And to be fair to Mo real quick, he did get a deal done to Houston where he didn't have to eat money.
Absolutely.
And then Arenado backed out of it. So a little bit of defense to Mo. Now, maybe it is still true.
But
He
could you
wouldn't
have
have fought
changed it
those.
if you were getting more money eaten on that contract?
Maybe to another team, not to Houston. That's where it's tough to tell. I mean, it's definitely still possible he wasn't willing to fight it. But I think last year they truly believed they could get out from Arenado without having to eat anything, and they kind of did till he vetoed the trade.
It's just so odd to me, and again, not to steal this whole segment, but it's just so odd to me that now we're hearing ownership being like, yeah, we'll eat as much money as possible if it betters the team. And then 2 years ago, when we knew this team was bad, it was, well, they're not going to do that because that's just wasting money, and they're not going to waste money. So it just doesn't sit right with me, where 2 years ago it felt like this could have been started, but instead it was, no, we're not going to just lose money. We're going to sit here and try and compete.
I find it to be an interesting conversation as well. We'll never know the true answer, but it's fascinating.
I'm going to keep working on that truth serum.
So that's one part of it. They're willing to include the money, which kind of changes my outlook. I don't know if it's the same for you guys on whether or not they're going to be able to find a deal for Arenado, and B, get a pretty good return for Sonny Gray. We talked in the open about the interest from other teams on Brendan Donovan. Sounds like there's a lot of interest in him. Not surprising. Lars Nootbaar, there are some teams that are interested in him as well. There's some that maybe are showing interest in Nolan Gorman. There was a report that the Cardinals are hesitant to trade Alec Burleson and Ivan Herrera. Those are two guys that they would like to keep as part of the core moving forward. And under the radar part of their potential offseason plan is what they decided to do, a catcher. It's been reported they want Ivan Herrera to be their close to everyday catcher next year. That's the plan going in. Pedro Pajes is on the 40-man roster. Joe Opozo is technically still on the 40-man roster. You also saw at the end of last season, they called up another catcher from AAA that they decided to go with for a small stretch of time there. What would you like to see the Cardinals do this offseason with their catching depth, Alex? Because they also have Leo Bernal in AA and Ray Rodriguez, who's flying through the system right now and putting up crazy offensive numbers as well.
And did you mention Jimmy Crooks?
Jimmy Crooks at the major league level.
Yeah.
So what would you like to see the Cardinals do this offseason with their catching depth?
The first thing is make Herrera the starting catcher for you, and then have Crooks or Bernal, whoever impresses the most in spring training, as the backup. And I think I'd move on from Pedro Pajes. Because it feels like if Pajes is there, he's going to be getting a bulk of the starts if things don't go well for Herrera behind the plate, because he's just that safety blanket to where it's like he's such a good defensive catcher that you put him back there. Stick with Herrera until you find out what you have in your minor league system. I don't know what the return is for Pedro Pajes on the market, but he'd be the one that I would look to move on from. And then probably if you're going to keep Bernal or Crooks on that roster, at the major league roster as the backup catcher, my guess is you keep Pozo as that third catcher to come in if you need him to, but more than anything, just that bench bat that can come in if need be. But I don't know if Pedro Pajes fits into the plan for the Cardinals, because you've got all of these catchers in your minor league system, and at some point you want to bring one up to see what he has, and I want them to just stick with Ivan Herrera behind the plate.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they're sticking with Herrera behind the plate, because I don't think it's going to work, and then they're going to bail on it again. And then they're going to be searching for, well, what do we do with this piece? Do we put him at DH?
You can't bail on it.
Can I ask a follow-up question on that real quick before we move on to anything else? Does it make you feel differently that there's somebody else in charge now?
No.
Like if Chaim Bloom is the one that is pushing for this, and that seems to be the case. It seems like this is a Chaim call, that Ivan Herrera is a catcher now. Does that change things for you?
No, because I think if he continues to struggle with throwing guys out, I think at some point that Ali Marmol eventually would have a conversation with Chaim saying, we cannot continue to do this with him behind the plate because it is hurting us.
And what if Chaim says, I don't care?
This is our catcher.
I still would not.
You're not trying to
There's
win
two
this
reasons
year.
why I don't want him behind the plate. One is I don't think he's good enough defensively to be behind home plate. Now, I understand I've had my gripes with keeping Pajes in the lineup, but you can get away with a defensive-minded catcher if you build things around them properly. Second, he now has to probably come out and line up more often than you're expecting because he's going to need more time off, and the tax it's going to take on his body, the nicks, the foul balls that come off of him. And for his bat, I actually liked what they decided to do and said, hey, let's get him away from behind the plate last year.
So we're having two conversations simultaneously. That's your perspective on Herrera as a catcher, which is valuable, and I could get that. And I think some of those are more than valid points, especially the last one you made, where it's like, what does that have? What kind of toll does the beating of being a catcher take on your offensive production? Fair question, in my opinion. I'm very curious, though, about their positioning on this, because you said you don't believe that they will stick with it. And I think in the past that has been shown to be the case. It was first the case with Wilson Contreras, where they didn't trust him as a defensive catcher, eventually moved him to first base. It was then the case with Ivan Herrera, where they didn't trust him behind the plate. They kept throwing him down to AAA, or last year said, you're a DH/outfielder for us now. This offseason, Chaim Bloom is new in charge. He is the guy that is apparently sticking with Herrera as a catcher. He's committed to this. They are also not putting all of their eggs in the compete in 2026 basket. I'm curious, does that change at all your belief in them sticking with it? Not whether you think he should be a catcher or not, but your belief that they will continue to hold steady with Herrera's our guy.
Yeah. I said what I believe, what I think they will do based on the way that they have talked. They will stick with Herrera behind the plate. They will trade Pedro Pages, and they will use Jimmy Crooks as the backup. I don't know what Pozo's role is here, because I don't think that he can be optioned down the minors. My guess is he's probably just a non-tender candidate. And then your third string catcher, your third guy, if you need to bring him up, would be Bernal. He'll start the year at AAA. He'll be where Jimmy Crooks was last year. You only call him up if you need to because one of your other catchers gets hurt, whether that's Herrera or Crooks. And you hope that he then eventually develops into being what Pedro Pages was, and then once again you can decide the next offseason who that catcher is. If it doesn't work with Herrera, then they can pivot next year. If it does work with Herrera and he is a catcher, okay, well then they can choose between Jimmy Crooks and Bernal and which one of those they think is the backup to him long term.
And that's why I think that's the right way to go about it. I think they should trade Pedro Pages this offseason. I think, like, Jimmy Crooks is your backup. You're clearly committed to Ivan Herrera. If this was an all-in year and you were trying to really win at the highest possible level next season, he should be your DH. Because he should not be the primary catcher for a team that goes into the season with a World Series aspirations. It's too important of a position to just say we've got a massive question mark here. So I would feel differently if this was, 2022, where they were doing this. But going into 2026, you should find out what you have in Ivan Herrera, because he is more valuable if he works out as a catcher that can hit like this. That becomes Will Smith. And that's as valuable as anything that you can have, because it opens up another spot that is traditionally a big-time hitter to put that big-time hitter in at DH, first base, corner outfields, whatever it may be. So you trade Pedro Pages. I know people are like, why would you trade Pedro Pages? What are you going to get for him? A decent return. Freddie Fermin for the Kansas City Royals, not a great hitter. And he's just like a good signal caller. People like him behind the plate. They're comfortable with him. He got a pretty good return. He got two major league pitchers for the Kansas City Royals, who this offseason, they might be able to flip to go get the hitter that they're looking for. Or they become the depth that they need in order to flip one of their other starting pitchers for a guy like Brendan Donovan. So you could end up getting, a couple minor leaguers, maybe a reliever for Pedro Pages, something like that. That's not nothing, especially when you have this kind of depth at the major league level for your catcher position. So I'd trade Pages. I would listen on Bernal as well, frankly. See what other teams are willing to offer you for him. Maybe you trade Bernal for a starting pitching prospect. You just do. It's not a sexy thing. It's not something that's going to make headlines in, New York or something. But trade a big-time catching prospect for a double-A starter that strikes out 12 batters per 9 innings, and you have no idea if he's going to make it to the major leagues, but he might, and he has real upside. Cool. I'm interested in that because you've got other catching depth in the system as well.
Bernal's the guy that I would explore making the move for. And I understand it probably would be a minor league for minor league trade, and you maybe look on go, what the bleep just happened? I've seen this game with Herrera, and I understand what you're saying of, hey, it is kind of a retooling year still for him. Why not put him behind the plate? I'm more curious about just his bat overall and not so much of, we really want an offensive first catcher. I just know he's not going to stick around defensively behind the plate. He's not good enough. I think it's 4 years that we've seen that they have continued to push away. And it's not because I don't think it is a Ollie Marmol problem. I think it is. Ollie Marmol and the coaching staff has said, hey, he is not continuing to improve defensively. I understand he had an operation on the elbow because it was, I think, loose body parts, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. I still think he's going to have trouble getting the ball down there quick enough. I still think the game calling is going to be an issue for him. I would just rather more value his bat and find a position for him.
The Cardinals have said they disagree with you.
I know what the Cardinals have said, but I'm willing to say that I think the Cardinals are wrong. That's what I am saying.
But they also, in that time frame, have always been trying to be competitive.
Correct.
So they're trying to win, and so they have to put a defensive-minded catcher back there. They're not trying to win right now. Even if they tell you that they want to be more competitive than just rebuilding, they're not trying to be the best team in the NL Central.
It's the first time the incentives are actually lockstep.
Like, let him grow in that position,
100%.
learn the position so that when we're ready to compete, we've got an elite bat that knows how to handle behind the plate.
And here's my thing. I wonder if his bat can be better away from the plate. And that's why I want to know if the ceiling is there doing that, because I don't know if I'm going to see his ceiling at the plate. That's what I'm saying, and both in terms of what his defense is, but also how much it impacts what his bat's going to look like because of that beating behind home.
The bat is good enough to play elsewhere. We know that. That is not in doubt any longer. We've seen it now for 2 seasons and more than 180 games at the major league level. That guy's a really good hitter. I have zero questions about his bat. If they moved him to DH, he'd be fine there. He'd be a 25 to 30% above league average hitter. I've got no questions about it. Last year in 105 games, he had, 19 home runs. Guy's legit. He's a stud. As a catcher, I have no idea what the ceiling is. It might be terrible. T-Bone, you may very well be proven correct. And by the end of next season, we look back at it and say, the idea failed, and Ivan Herrera is a first base DH corner outfield type. That's fine. I would like to get that information first. I don't think we do have that information because we haven't seen an extended stretch of him getting this opportunity at the major league level. I would also add this. I'm with you. I don't think it's exclusively an Ollie Marmol conversation. I think there was probably some influence from the front office, which for 20 years had a backstop in Yadier Molina, that they valued the defensive catcher in him. Mm-hmm. You no longer have that any longer. The main front office guy in charge is somebody from outside of the organization that had no history with Yadier Molina. For the first time, your primary decision maker in this organization is not going to fall back to, yeah, but this is what we did with Yadi. No, he doesn't have that history, and therefore he might actually be open to a different kind of catcher. Other teams are. Let's see if the Cardinals can now become one of those teams. I don't know if they will or not. I can't say one way or the other. But I think it is worth trying, and we're about to find out by the end of next season what they have in Ivan Herrera once and for all. Whether it's just a hitter, which is fine. If he's a really good hitter, that's great. Or if he can be a catcher that hits at a high level as well, which is the best case scenario in one of the most valuable commodities in all of Major League Baseball.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if playing behind the plate is going to hinder his health and if he's going to be able to handle that. But also, to be fair, he's had injuries in the past and they haven't used him exclusively behind the plate. So he might just be a guy that gets injured and you get the best out of him for the 100 games he can play. And if there's more wear and tear, then you adjust. You've got 3 catchers in your system that you believe are probably going to be behind the plate. You don't need all of them. You're not going to use all of them. And if Herrera's there for 2 years and then when you're ready to win, you've got a guy that emerges and Herrera's bat is, hey, this dude's exclusively DH for us. That's even better for this team.
He's Alex, that's T-Bone, I'm BK. Coming up in about 15 minutes or so here on BK and Ferrario. How did this team come back with an overly inflated sense of what they were? We'll tell you about it in about 15 minutes. But next, it's time for some NFL quick hitters here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK, coming up in less than 30 minutes.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited.
Our football pick and punishment here on BK.
No,
and
not
Ferrario.
your football pick and punishment. And it is a brutal one.
My stomach hurts thinking about it.
I got the ingredients today, and I'm like, oh, God.
I've got the audio from what happened, what led to this punishment.
This might be worse than the mayonnaise and coffee one.
I think so. So we'll get into that coming up in the junk drawer here on BK and Ferrario. Let's dive into some NFL quick hitters.
Oh, God. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Alex, did you officially decide? Is tonight your
Yeah, I don't.
survivor pool?
No, I haven't decided, but I'm just trying not to touch it because I'm second guessing it, and like you can't second guess it. Although I did second guess the Panthers last week, and it paid off for me by going with the Bears. But I just look, man. It feels like a trap. The Patriots against the Jets, and it shouldn't feel like a trap because it's the freaking New York Jets who have nothing anymore. But it's just one of those games. It's Thursday night. It's a short week. Patriots feel like the clear-cut favorite. But, yeah, I'm sticking with them. I think they get the job done. And we move on.
I think they will.
Yeah, I don't even have like any concern in this.
Well, you don't have $20,000 riding on it.
Even if I did, I don't think I would because it's the Jets.
Yeah.
They stink. Their 2 wins are against Joe bleeping Flacco and whoever the hell the quarterback
How do you
is in
guys feel
Cleveland.
about the fantasy options tonight? Because we got the Wayno League.
Yeah, someone.
we're already out of it,
We're
man.
in
You've
second
screwed
place
it.
after last week. I'm sorry. We're the highest scoring team in the league, but we fell from 8-2 to 7-3, unfortunately.
Could still be
And
8-2.
The top team is 8-2. I know I screwed up last week, and it was because of Thursday Night Football. I shouldn't have done Brock Bowers. I screwed up. That's on me.
Oh, no, you screwed up by telling Marshy to stud his lineup. We should
That
still
too.
be 8-2.
That's yeah. we
Really
should-
9-1 if you wouldn't have done the Thursday night football
Correct.
thing.
So here we are.
So T-Bone, you get robbed of throwing
I'm
first
starting to
pitch.
include the two of you in this as
Warming
well.
up.
Do you guys have any Thursday Night Football plays that you love tonight?
I love Drake May as a quarterback, but I got to imagine he's expensive.
He is. Yep.
Yeah. I say there's not one that I really like.
That's the only one I think I like in this one.
Yeah, because I can see where this game gets out of hand quickly, and then it's just so hard to predict what's
Travion?
going to happen. Yeah, I don't have a great feel on if I would go with him. I would rather go other running back options
Yeah.
later on Sunday.
And I feel like he's going to be just the short yards.
Do you need a
get the
defense?
touchdown.
You don't need a defense, right? Do you? I
Defense
kind of
and
like
kicker.
the
Patriots
Patriots
defense?
defense tonight because
could
I
see
don't
that.
think the Jets are going to do a whole lot of anything.
Force a couple of fumbles, maybe a couple of
And-
interceptions.
And their defense has been solid this year. I think there's a chance that the Pats defense could put up some points. That's like the only play that I would do tonight.
I don't like anything on the Jets
Pretty
side of
cheap.
things.
They're 2,600 in here.
That would probably be the only
That would
one.
save you some buck for whether it be a wide out, a quarterback, whatever you want later in the week.
Yeah, Drake May is a little cheaper than, or roughly the same price as Bo Nix, a little cheaper than Matt
Oh, that's
Stafford.
obnoxious.
So
Stafford's got a tough matchup, so you're not using him. I just don't know how many other quarterbacks you feel like great about that aren't going to be expensive.
yeah, so the most expensive quarterbacks this week: Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, Jalen Hurts, Dak. Dak has a really good matchup against Vegas. That might be one that we have to look into a little bit.
And if you, like I said, you save a little cash here, go with that Patriots defense, boom.
So, NFL news. A.J. Brown, there was a video that surfaced
Another one?
where he said things are a bleep show outside of his family life.
That's good that the family life's doing well, though.
In comments to his media at his locker late on Wednesday afternoon, Brown said his discontent is with the Philadelphia offense as a whole, not just his situation, and he's not apologizing for it. Quote, "It's not solely about what I am doing with my situation. I also want to win. I think if we're really focused on winning and doing our job, we can't just keep slapping a Band-Aid over the defense doing their job and getting us out of trouble. At what point are we going to pick up our slack as an offense?" That's what I'm getting at. It's not about, I don't care about winning, all I care about is stats. No. It's week after week. Sometimes we're not doing our job as an offense. You can't keep slapping a Band-Aid over that and expecting to win late in the year and thinking you're doing a good job. It's not going to bleep in happen.
How has nobody on that team, just player-wise, walked up to him and said, dude, enough with this ish?
Because they know he's right.
Sure, but you can't say one thing and then go on your Twitch stream later on that night and complain about getting only 2 receptions in a football game. Like,
The tough part, T-Bone's right. He is correct. Their offense is a bleep show. It's bad, dude. Like last week, they scored 10 points against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay's a very good defense, don't get me wrong. If this was a one-off, I would have been like, you know what? It was just about the Packers. Jalen Hurts has mostly been bad this season as a thrower of the football. And you look at what A.J. Brown has added to the offense this year, it's not good enough. And that's not his fault, I don't think. A.J. Brown is every bit as good now as he was last year. I think that Saquon Barkley is every bit as good now as he was last year. But the offense isn't as good. Saquon's not as productive. A.J. Brown's not as productive. It's everything. So I don't know why this is happening the way that it is. It's hard for me to blame A.J. Brown too much for all of this stuff.
I'm not blaming him, but it's just not the right attitude you need when things aren't going well. And I mean, part of the problem is you, just like part of the problem is Jalen Hurts, and part of the problem is the offense in general.
The weird thing, they're 7-2, man.
I know.
They're really good. They're probably the best team in the NFC right now.
No, I disagree with that.
Sorry. They're probably one of the 3 best teams in the
There you
NFC.
go.
I still don't think they're the 3 best teams in the NFC.
We'll find out this weekend. I mean, if they beat the Lions and they beat the Packers last week, it's getting hard to say anybody other than them as the second best team in the NFC behind maybe the LA Rams if you want to go with them.
And I just believe...
And they beat the Rams earlier this year too, by the way.
I believe the Lions beat them, and they look inferior in your 3 teams.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, your 3 teams are going to be Lions, Seahawks, and Rams after this week.
And to be fair, I typically would be all against a player for coming out like this, but I think what makes this so much more difficult is the fact that I remember 2 years ago the story that came out in the offseason. It's like, hey, Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, they don't even say hi in the hallway. Like, they don't talk, hasn't had a meeting with them. And Sirianni's come out and said, like, hey, yeah, as long as we run the football, we're still going to be good. We're still working towards this thing. Sirianni's not sounding alarm bells. Well, meanwhile, A.J. Brown is seeing this. And I'm sure the reason that his teammates haven't come up to him, they're feeling the same thing of, we cannot keep getting away with this. We have to figure this out. Meanwhile, Sirianni's probably preaching patience. Don't worry, this is working. We're 7-2, and I think that's where this is all snowballing. Sirianni is not a guy that can seem to keep a locker room together. I get the vibe that if this thing does come off the rails, Sirianni will be out the door.
Jets versus Patriots tonight in the NFL. You'll be able to hear that right here on 101 ESPN. Patriots versus Jets pregame starts at 6:30. By the way, the Fastlane and the Riz Show, they're hanging out tonight at Hot Shots in Arnold. Marshy and Moon will be there from 6:30 to 8:30 as part of their football pick'em challenge. Come out. Thursday Night Football will be on the screens. Get signed up for some Point 101 ESPN giveaways. Enjoy some cold Bud Light. It's tonight from 6:30 to 8:30 with Marshy, Moon, and Bud Light at Hot Shots down in Arnold. Coming up in 15 minutes, I will serve my pick'em punishment for the last month. Not looking forward to that one bit. But next, how did this team come back with an overly inflated of what they were already? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendricks here with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tomorrow night as they host the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 7 o'clock. Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN, we've got Thursday Night Football for you as the Patriots take on the Jets. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6:30 with kickoff at 7:15. This Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at Londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
You know, from last year to this year, I think we're a really confident group. And when you get really confident, sometimes you let the details slip. And that's kind of what I think happened is, you know, we came into the season expecting to, you know, take off and be at the exact place we were last year. And, you know, we just weren't. And, you know, that's what kind of happens.
I don't know how many times over the offseason we heard somebody say that something to the effect, Alex, of, hey, every year is different. Every team is different. Every situation is different. And yet for some reason it feels as though, based upon those comments from Robert Thomas earlier today with the guys on TMA, they do their weekly interview with him. Really glad to have him back as a part of their show this year. It sounds as though they almost thought, hey, we just continue along. It's the same group. We're going to continue from pick up where we left off last year. That obviously has not been the case. Alex, how did they get such an overinflated sense of self, in your opinion?
Lack of maturity. I think that's what it was. You know, when you talk to guys like Chris Pronger and people who have played in the league a long time, they say, look, you can't carry this over. Why do they say that? Because they were a part of teams that were good and then tried to carry it over and it didn't happen. They've had plenty of opportunities to mature. You know, the Blues, although they do have guys who have been here before in terms of Parayko and Fowler and Falk and Shen, a lot of the forwards that were a main reason why they had so much success was they just assumed that it was going to carry over, and really they've never experienced this. You know, we made last season's reference to the Blues in 2011, 2012 when Hitch took over, and then they went on that run where they were a playoff team almost every single year. And maybe it was negligent of me. Maybe they're more in line of what 2008, 2009 was. To where, now the coach isn't the side. The comparison that I had was when they brought in Jim Montgomery was like bringing in Ken Hitchcock. But the roster in 2008, 2009, if people remember correctly, they were bad. And then they went on that run in the second half where they were just unstoppable and they snuck in. They got bounced in the first round, I think, by the Kings in 4 games. Then they missed the playoffs the next 2 years. And then was when they made the switch to the coaching. No, I'm not saying the Blues are going to miss playoffs for 2 years and then become a juggernaut.
I hope not, man.
But what I'm saying is that team in 2008, 2009 had some veterans, snuck into the playoffs, maybe assumed that it was easier to get in, and then they got smacked in the face a couple of times and said, oh, okay, we need to be better. So maybe the start of the year is the smack in the face that some of these guys have needed, the maturity to realize that, look, you got to bring it every single game and be consistent if you want to have success in the league. Jim Montgomery referenced some maturity issues earlier this season. I think that's probably it. They were just immature in the sense of assuming they'd be amazing at the start of the year.
You mentioned Jim Montgomery. He was on with the Fast Lane yesterday. Here's what he had to say and why he believes this is going to turn around relatively soon.
That we continue to build trust and we continue to play the right way. You know, in our last 5 games, we are 3-1-1, and it could easily be 4-1, but it isn't. And we just got to keep believing and being on the right side of pucks because the defense is leading to some easy offense. And our forwards haven't taken advantage of the easy offense that have come our way, but they're too talented to not. And I remember feeling this way last year at one moment, and I was like, this tide's got to turn. And it usually turns with really good defense, and the offense follows. And I think we're on the brink of seeing it.
Do you agree?
I do. And just to clarify what he's saying, the defense leading to great offense, that means his own defense. Our defense in our own end is leading to those scoring chances.
That transition game.
Yeah. Now, Calgary is awful. Let's be upfront and honest about it. So to sit here and act like that Calgary game is part of the reason why, I think you had like 8 odd man rushes in that game. That's not going to continue against Philly tomorrow. But I do agree in the sense of, man, if you go and look at those games, I know people are upset that the Blues finished 3-2 against Calgary and let them back in the hockey game. But, man, after Calgary scored those back-to-back goals, the Blues had 3 scoring chances that could have made it 4-2, 5-2 going into the second period. They have just been missing. I'm not going to use the word that everybody gets angry about, unlucky. The puck's just not going in the net. Whether it's the players that are snake bit, whether it's puck luck, whatever you want to reference into. If that puck starts going in, then the Blues go back to extending those leads and killing off any momentum from the other side. So they have been, in my opinion, since that Vancouver Canucks loss, a really good defensive team, minus that Capitals game. Capitals game was awful.
And 4 of their last 5 games, they've played well defensively.
Yeah.
And they've had good goaltending.
You're not allowing high-danger chances as much. You're not allowing as many odd-man rushes as you have been, and there's not the obvious breakdowns. So if you're playing that well defensively, offensive chances are going to come. So I do think I'd love to know more where he's referencing, because it's not the post-Four Nations break where you felt like the tide was going to turn. Like, they came out buzzing. I think he's probably talking about, like, the middle of December, to where they were winning, but then they'd win 2, they'd lose 3, they'd win 1, they'd lose 2, and it's like, man, what is going on here? And then they finally broke through. That's where I kind of wonder if the Blues are at right now. They just need the puck to start going in.
Yeah, I remember that stretch in early December, because that was right around where we started to feel better about the team.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, maybe they can get this thing back on track. Yeah. And they played particularly well against, like, Calgary.
And Winnipeg, too.
But then they lost that game against Columbus. And then they lost again against Columbus. And I remember we were all like, man, you can't lose twice against Columbus and view yourself as a contender. And so they won the couple of games against Calgary, and we're like, I'm not buying into this. And then, boom, that's when it really fell off of a cliff prior to that Four Nations break. And they had that game against Chicago, remember, where they didn't try for most of the game. They ended up winning the game and getting the 2 points, but they just looked terrible in it. And so we were like, we're out. This is it. Like, I don't even enjoy watching the team right now.
I remember you saying that.
And they came back, and they just really built their game over that mini training camp, basically. So I think they've almost used the beginning of this regular season as that extended ability to find their game once again. And my hope is you see something similar to what you saw at the post-Four Nations break, because they didn't come out like gangbusters, but they were playing really, really well.
They lost their first game out of the break. They lost to Winnipeg.
And it continued to build, right? So that's what I'm hoping for here.
Yeah.
I hope that Jim Montgomery is right.
Yeah, and, you look at that stretch that you're talking about, because, I remember those back-to-back wins against Calgary, and it was like, okay, cool. That was the team you needed to beat, and you just whooped up on them both times. But you lost to Vegas 4-2. You lost to Dallas 2-0. You lost to Vancouver 5-2. You were giving up goals, which is like, man, they'll be fine there. But you weren't scoring. Yep. And you were putting 30-plus shots on goal every time. He's like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, their goals per game in that stretch that you're talking about. 2-0, 2-0, 2-2-2, then scored 6 in that terrible game right before the break.
And then they came out.
And they were playing better.
And really, if you look at what they did down the stretch, they weren't an offensive juggernaut team. I think they scored more than...
Well, that's when we got concerned, because it was the Holloway stuff. They didn't have Holloway in the lineup anymore, and the offense started to dissipate. And thank God they were playing as well as they were defensively, and Benner was playing well.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, coming out of the Four Nations break, you scored 7 against Seattle, 5 against Washington, but other than that, 3 Colorado, 4 Kings, 3 Dallas, 3 Kings, 4 Ducks, 1 Kings, 3 Pittsburgh. It's like they weren't a juggernaut, and it was just they were so good defensively. The goalies were cleaning up everything, and they were getting the timely goals. That's what you're hoping that can take place, because, man, Robert Thomas had that breakaway against Calgary when it was 3-2 before the period ended. Dustin Wolf made the save. And you're talking about that being 4-2, and all the momentum is gone. So they do need some timely bounces, but I'm not going to just say it's luck. They got to earn that luck on the ice.
He's Alex, that's Steve-O, and I'm BK. Coming up next, it's time for my pick'em punishment. I will...
Staring at you, buddy.
Oh, eat this thing fast. This thing stinks.
I got to get the onions out of here.
Disgusting.
Alex.
It's
Let's see people getting...
Alex
mayo,
coated the mayo on it.
Butter, and onion sandwich.
I don't want to. It looks gross from a distance.
It's so
the mayo
gross.
jiggled when I put it on.
Close up. Alex is tweeting out a video of him making it here momentarily, and we will I will eat it next year on 101 ESPN. I'm not in a good place.
I feel rough, man.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm unwell.
You gonna cry, dog?
So, there's the sandwich.
Oh, man. So for those that don't know, while BK tries to figure himself out, put
dude,
that one on
there's,
camera.
Like, big things of butter.
So for those that don't know, on our BK and Ferrario punishment,
You've got some of the, like,
there's...
oh my God.
I
don't know if I can do this.
We try and come up with punishments every year, try and come up with new ones to really make it rough on the person that loses. BK, of course, he like he always does, he comes in last. So last year when we were doing Beat the Blues, one of the categories that we had for the players and the contestant was, and correct me if I'm wrong here, T-Bone, sandwiches.
Let's go back in the Wayback Machine.
Name as many types of sandwiches as you can in 15 seconds.
Well, there's the Reuben sandwich, and after that, I never needed another sandwich. Ham and cheese is a hamburger, a sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly. I like butter and mayonnaise and onion sandwiches, too.
Disgusting, Gary.
Gary, we got to have a conversation there.
Gary, what are you doing to yourself? So at the end of that segment, we said, man, Gary just gave us an incredible idea for a punishment because for those that don't know, BK can't handle white gelatinous substances.
I can't blame him.
Like everything.
After seeing this sandwich.
Ranch. He told us earlier that marshmallows he doesn't like, which is
just weird.
That's a you thing, buddy. So
Have
we
you ever
said
seen those Peeps that people like?
Oh, God,
those
yeah,
are
those
gross.
are great. Those are nasty. I loved them when I was a little kid. So we said, well, all right, we're making this a punishment then. So we decided that the loser month was going to eat a mayo, butter, and onion sandwich. And so I made it, and BK has to indulge himself. You have to eat that thing. And what do we say? Like, he doesn't have to eat all of it because I think he's not going to make it through.
I think like a bite or two.
I think we need about like 2 to 3 bites. I had to finish my coffee with mayo. I think he needs 3 big bites. We need like bites.
Why did we decide to?
I don't remember whose idea it was for punishment.
I think it was mine because I knew BK was going to lose, and Gary gave us
said
the
we
gold.
should do like a pick'em thing, and we
All
said,
right.
okay, should we have a punishment?
So
and then
for
I ran a beer mile as the first one.
So for those of you that are sitting in your office right now and you need some entertainment, head on over to our YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. BK, we are almost at 200 viewers.
So many viewers when we do punishments.
Man,
Why?
we are almost at 200 viewers right now.
Keep them coming. YouTube.com/101ESPN STL.
And I tweeted out me making the sandwich.
It's disgusting. It's horribly disgusting.
It smells awful.
Yeah, well, and I got...
Thank God I can barely smell anymore. COVID took that away from me.
Yeah, but
in
you can
2020.
taste, big man.
I can taste.
The yellow
Today
onion.
I wish I couldn't.
The yellow onion, in my opinion, is the worst of the 3 onions. Like, white onions are okay.
Somebody said, does he eat Alfredo sauce? No, bro.
Not white gelatinous substance. All right, buddy. So we're getting 3 bites before the end of this segment. So we need your first one, and then we need like a taste test. Trash can is to your right. Don't puke because I will. Oh, that's not going to make a difference, man.
Looked like he missed.
Yeah, you get the headphones.
Second one, I didn't want to do it again.
The left side of the sandwich, I think, has the bulk of mayo.
It's on my hand.
Oh, yeah, mine's like sticky already. I got the extra gelatinous substance, too. Take the first bite!
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
I apologize to anybody listening.
If I see a white
already.
gelatinous,
Bite it into
drip
that.
out.
Let's hear Oh, God. I saw some of it come out.
I heard a little crunch.
I saw some of it come out of the sandwich. Oh, God. Look how much he has to chew to try and get it down. Oh, man. My eyes are watering now. Ooh. Where are you at, buddy? Have you swallowed it yet?
I'm still chewing.
You got to put it down. You got 2 more bites. You got 2 more. Oh, there it is. Oh, God. 2 more bites.
I don't know if I can do 2 more of those.
Ooh, what'd you think? What'd you taste the most? Was it the onion or the butter or the mayo?
Hold on.
Someone said you can't spit it out. You cannot spit it out. Even if you're going to
That's not the way that's coming
even
back
if
up.
you regurgitate it, you got to at least swallow it first. What do we think,
Dude.
man? What'd you taste?
It burns going down.
That's a pretty big onion.
The onion is somehow worse than the mayo. I got a big glob of.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm just describing it. That bite that he took, I heard a small crunch.
There was a little piece that came out when
It
he
was
bit into
way
it.
too big of a bite as well.
BK can't
My
get...
eyes are kind of watering right now.
Where's your trash can at?
To the right. Oh, no. Spitters are quitters. That's what they're saying. You can't spit this out. All right, we need another bite, man.
BK's on the verge of vomiting for those in his car.
Gator said the BK voice as you're taking a bite of this one. So let me see if I could channel my BK.
Dude, I think 2.
We need play-by-play.
I think
you get
2
another
is
big
my
one.
limit.
I'm in.
Well, you know, Kara, I don't really choose to have mayo on my sandwich. And if it's onions, it needs to be
So this is
sauteed onions.
not going to become a new, like, Kylie special?
Oof.
Oh my God, no, dude. I can't. What? John? Is that his name?
No, Gary.
Gary.
Bear.
Gary, dude.
Gare Bear.
What are we doing? Oh, add like tomato something on here.
God.
Yeah, just for kind of what I
my
can see
stomach
BK,
hurts.
he couldn't get it to swallow because he can't get the bread chewed up quick
Well,
enough.
there's the onion.
Yeah,
Oh, is
there's,
it the onion
there's
that's causing the
these
problem?
onions. I made them thick. Like you got to get the bite of the onion in
He
there.
didn't do like.
No.
Diced.
No.
These are full
Yeah.
things of like that is a full
Yeah, like you get
onion.
You get a cheeseburger. They put these on the side of the plate.
This is bad, dude.
Oh God! You didn't have to do that, man.
No, I did.
Oh man! All right, we need another bite. Let's get into this. Come on, you got 3. I had to chug an entire coffee with mayo in it.
Play-by-play for
Here we go.
Kylie's
Let me channel my inner
onion,
BK.
butter, mayo.
Overheating right now. I'm sweating.
Oh, well, you know, I don't really choose these types of sandwiches. Mayo
he's
doesn't
going in
really
for
go
another
down
bite.
well. Oh, gosh. Oh, there's some onion that held
Onion
off of that
was
one.
dangling from his
Oh,
mouth when he
God. It's so
pulled
hard
away.
to chew. I can't chew the onion.
BK can't look at us
Does
while
the
he
mayo-
chews this.
does
Eyes
the-
are closed.
Does the mayo make your spit thicker? Because that's the worst, dude. Oh, yeah.
Now he's chugging water to help get this thing down.
Chad Powers on our YouTube chat said Fastlane's going to complain about the smell all day.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
We're
just going to
sorry.
hide. I'm going to hide this trash can somewhere in the room and just steal
Anybody
one.
have gum?
No,
No.
man. You don't
There's
get
gum
to
in the
chew
break
gum.
room.
Oh, man.
All right, how we feeling over there?
Yeah, you got one more bite, big boy.
No, dude, that's it.
I think that's
What the
pretty-
hell? I had to drink an entire coffee with mayo in it.
Yeah, I
Do
don't
we
know why
not
we did
remember
that.
how many clumps of mayo he put in that coffee? He needs one more damn bite.
Okay.
Better
One
be a
last
big
bite. Here we go.
Here we go.
One more for our
there,
people.
in the middle. Right in the middle of it.
No, the middle doesn't have any onion. I'll get the side.
Hey, lift
The
it up,
mayo is
lift
the
it up a
part.
little bit. We need it on camera, sir.
Yeah. And I need you to put your
Hold on, just give me a sec.
put your mouth right on that mic when you do it.
Just.
Yeah, we want ASMR.
I'm gonna.
T-Bone wants you to look at him while he chews it.
Yeah, look me in the eyes.
Look me in the eyes when you eat it. Look at me while you puke. Don't you look away. Chew and stare at me.
Somebody said, BK, there is one way to avoid this.
Not suck at your picks.
All you have to do is pick better.
Yep.
Yeah. it's
I
true.
wish that were easier. I'm in last place this month, too.
All right, let's start a BK chant for the last one. You ready?
BK,
BK, BK, BK, BK, BK, BK, BK.
All right, he's going in for another bite.
Go ahead, T-Bone,
Oh,
hit it.
big bite there. Oh, struggling. Turning away. Oh, it might happen.
Dude, don't.
Oh, it might happen. Oh, big deep breaths. You can hear it in your
Oh, I
microphone.
know. That's worse, dude. You're getting the smell of it. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
How we doing over there?
Can't smell, remember?
Oh, yeah, that's true, but I am.
Yeah.
Dude, it's the onion because you can't chew it. It's like,
That's the best part
and
about
then
it.
you can feel the burn after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you get the mayo with it as well.
How you doing over there? All right. I'm surprised. I think you did pretty well.
I didn't vomit, which I'm okay with.
nearly did.
I think it's almost
After the second one,
You get used
we
to
were
it?
really close.
Man,
He's still thinking about it over
Oh,
there.
it's like in my teeth. Can we? I need some gum.
my tum-tum hurts right now.
I definitely need some Tums.
In
Why do
retrospect,
people eat that?
In retrospect, I think I would have, if I could have had the time to dice up the onions, he probably would have tasted the mayo more. But honestly, I think it's better that he got more onion and doesn't even
Yeah.
realize the mayo that he's been eating. Oh, God, don't.
I'm sorry, guys.
Do you have any idea what's coming up next?
I don't know. What are we talking about?
Coming up next on BK and Ferrario, is it unfair for a program like Mizzou to be held to a
We can talk about
playoff
this
or bust mentality every year next year on 101 ESPN?
Nobody had gum.
How does this dude come back with a lolly? Are you 5?
Go to a doctor during break?
I went to Ryder.
And Ryder had a lollipop?
No, he said to get lost.
Oh, Ryder's in one of those places today.
He offered me an
kinda like
orange.
Ooh, that would have been
orange.
good, though.
A very nice offer.
Stuck up BK loves oranges.
I unfortunately didn't have time to
Peel it?
unpeel the orange and then eat the orange. So I went to the Fast Lanes office and I said, hey, any of you have any gum? And they also said, get lost. I said,
Nice.
but why?
Well, at least they kind of
Jamie
cared.
said, I'm going to snap you in half like a twig. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. And he's like, no, seriously, why?
Jeez.
I said, I explained the whole situation. He said, oh, yeah, we don't have gum, but we've got a bunch of candy over there. They have a box, like a full cardboard box of candy.
Who's bringing them candy, and why aren't we getting any?
So I got a pink lemonade lollipop, and it's helping a little bit. Dude, it's going to take months for me to get that onion taste out of my mouth.
You're going to have to floss because the onion's stuck in your teeth.
Truly, it's in there. It's in there for a while.
Yeah. My inside started to swell up after that first bite.
I feel okay now. After that second bite, I thought it was coming.
The first bite, it was going to come from me because you've been into it and like the spit and mayo stuck and just came off the sandwich and woof. The pink lemonade tastes good.
So Eli Drinkwitz was asked at Tiger Talk earlier this week about the playoff or bust mentality that is permeating through all of college football. His response got a lot of attention, both locally and nationally. I think it's worth playing his response first, Alex, before we give our thoughts on the subject. Here's Eli Drinkwitz at Tiger Talk.
I talked about this in the SEC media days, okay? We got to get out of this. Oh, man, it's playoffs or bust. Yes, again, we're shooting for the moon. We're going to put our whole self into that. But only 12 teams make the playoffs, and we put ourselves in position in November to be there, okay? Didn't get it done. I got that. But if the season only counts for 12 football teams, and we got 127 Division I playing football teams, that math's not going to math very well. That math's not going to math very well, okay? Football is more than just the playoff potential. And, again, we were there. We were there. We didn't get it done. But, you know, there's a whole heck of a lot to be proud of. There's a whole heck of a lot to play for. Again, when I took over, we didn't go to a bowl game. We had NCAA probation. All right? And ever since then, we've been going to a bowl game. And, you know, there's a lot of programs right now that would trade us spots. I had a coach text me today. Said, Coach, there's a lot of programs in the country that would trade for the number of wins your team has. And that's a perspective that most people don't have.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
You know, just keep on fighting, keep on believing, and we're going to get ourselves back there. We're going to bust through. Didn't happen so far, but you know what? Don't discourage me any.
That team that texted him, that was Penn State, right?
Okay, can we take this by two parts?
Yeah.
React to the first part first. Actually, I'll react to the last part first, and then we'll get to the actual point of what he was saying, which is that it can't be college football playoff or bust. The last part of him saying, like, hey, there are a lot of teams that would trade us spots. We've been going to bowls, blah, blah, blah. I get it if that rubs you the wrong way a little bit. That's fine. He's also right. Like, there are 100 different teams in the country that would rather be in Mizzou's position than their position. You know how I know that? Because Penn State and Florida would like to hire Missouri's coach. So clearly, Missouri's in a pretty good spot. Otherwise, Penn State and Florida wouldn't want Eli Drinkwitz. So he's right. But I also understand that's not what you want to hear as a fan. And so maybe it wasn't the right thing to say, but it is also a correct statement. Those two things can simultaneously be true. On the larger point that he's getting at here, which is that it shouldn't always be college football playoff or the season is a complete and utter failure, he's also right. He's 100% correct. Now, at Alabama, at Georgia, at Ohio State, it's different there. And if you're mad at me because I have a different standard for Mizzou than I do Bama or Georgia or Ohio State, that's fine. You can fan however you want to. I would add, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed 95% of the time. And if that's how you want to fan, that's just not a way that I can't relate to that. Because I think college football is supposed to be about, like, enjoying the experience of watching your team. And that doesn't seem like it would bring me a lot of joy. But more power to you. That's cool. Mizzou, historically speaking, and recently speaking, is not at the same level as those other programs that I mentioned. So I don't view it as every single season college football playoff or bust. Their over-under in Vegas this year, Alex, was 7.5. I thought that was low. I think it clearly was low. They're probably still going to get to 7 or 8 wins, and that's with their third-string quarterback and their backup kicker. They were better, in my opinion, than the Vegas viewpoint was on this team. That being said, they're not going to make the college football playoff. They probably never were. And that doesn't make it a failure of a season. 2 years ago, they would have made the college football playoff if it had expanded. Last year, they didn't. Last year, to me, is the biggest disappointment of the Drinkwitz era. It was frustrating because you had so much production returning and you failed to get the job done. And it's in large part because you couldn't find a way to beat South Carolina on the road. That's the game that I would point to. So that one is more frustrating to me. This year is less so. One other thing on this, and I'm curious your guys' thoughts. Sorry for taking so much time here. I'm still trying to figure out how to breathe.
I just assume you're not thinking.
I'm amazed you're able to talk this much after that last segment.
The more I talk, the more I can taste the onion. Yeah.
Oh, God, I wish you wouldn't have said that.
The one other thing to consider. I mentioned Bama and Georgia. Basically, every year, those two programs are making it to the college football playoff. Would you guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Historically, that's been the case.
Yeah.
Probably
even on their down
to
years.
be the case moving forward. That means in the SEC, more often than not, you get 2 other teams that make it. That means you are competing with Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Texas, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Tennessee for 2 spots. Maybe in a good year like this year, you get 3 among those programs. I didn't mention LSU, Florida, Auburn, South Carolina. When he says the math ain't mathin', that's what he's talking about. Because the Big Ten's going to get 3+ in most seasons. The Big 12, ACC, and Group of 5 get 1. Notre Dame a lot of the years is going to get in. There's only so many spots to go around. So if it's college football playoff or bust every year for A&M, Bama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Florida, and at times Auburn and South Carolina, I just named 12 SEC programs that feel that way every year. So 8 teams in most seasons are going to view their season as a complete and utter failure. That seems like a really bad place for college football to be, in my opinion. Sorry.
No, you're fine. There's got to be a healthy in-between from success or failure. And I think a lot of people that I saw when you were talking, BK, was like, but isn't that the same mindset that John Mozeliak had with the Cardinals of, well, you just win and you get in and it's a successful season. And a lot of people have standards that say, no, you need to be a World Series contender. I can't, dude. You can't put a freaking lollipop in your mouth while I'm talking. So I'll talk to T-Bone here. There's got to be a healthy in between of, well, this was a successful season or a failure of a season. Now, I don't fully subscribe to the mentality that Lollipop over here does of, well, we got to have fun in the season. If we're having fun and you're winning, it's a good year. But in college football, even with an expanded playoffs to 12 teams, specifically in the SEC, I can't look at it as, well, you didn't make the college football playoffs and you failed. Because to me, I saw what failure looked like, and it was the Barry Odom era, to where it was every single season they'd get to 7 wins, and it would be like, oh, that was a fun season. And then the next year it was 6 wins, and then the next year it was 7, and then it was 6 again. It was like, what are we doing here? To me, that was failure. Now, maybe that was the ceiling of Barry Odom, but Drinkwitz has shown the capability of winning. I agree with BK that last year was the failure because it felt like that was the team that had the real possibility.
Agreed.
And they failed because you didn't live up to the expectations. This one, we felt like there were better opportunities, but we were unknown about Bo Prabula, and then everything has taken place. But to me, I don't subscribe, again, to the whole let's have fun, because I do think there needs to be I think you need to continue to progress further. Maybe this was a step back from what their expectations were, but I can't look at it and say that was a failure of a season.
I'm going to look in T-Bone's eyes while I suck on this lollipop.
T-Bone prefers that, actually. Look at me.
Don't you start doing ASMR sounds over there either.
That was not me. That was Alex.
He almost made himself vomit.
I could do that.
I do think it is. I think it's unreasonable to say that every season should be playoff or bust, especially for a program like Missouri. I even would say that for Illinois. But I do think it is fair to have multiple years and potentially a stretch, especially because I almost think there's almost benchmarks you now have to reach. When you take over a program like Drink did, okay, first benchmark, he's first into the SEC, hadn't been a head coach at a big level like this. Okay, goal is just to be a bowl contender. But then once you start to build a team that can be 8-9 wins constantly, what we're really talking about is, do you win one big game in a season? Or do you avoid having one hiccup in a season, and that can make you potentially playoff eligible? If you go 10-2 and miss the playoff because there are 11 other better teams than you, and the group of 5 gets one, then okay, like that, it's hard to be frustrated by because your schedule just didn't line up, and there's so little you can control there. But where I have a tough time of like saying like, hey, we should be happy settling for multiple 9-win seasons and getting a decent bowl game is, but college athletics hasn't told me that stuff matters anymore. They expanded the playoff for money. They destroyed the Pac-12 conference, not because, this is great because college sports is fun and we're playing football and we're going to have a good time. No, it's because of money. That's why the Pac-12 just blew up in our faces. And now I see Oregon in the Big Ten where they're going out east to like Rutgers and Maryland. And I see the Big 12 now has like nobody that's in that, like Texas, Oklahoma, their biggest partners, left to go to the SEC. So when I see that college athletics has become more about the money and that means caring more about the wins, it makes me say, well, why should I get excited about an 8 or 9 win season when what really they are striving for is to be a playoff team? And that's why, like, when I come into a year like this year for Illinois, they may win 9 games this year, and they may end up with 10 because they win their bowl game. It doesn't really matter to me. Do not care because their expectation should have been playoff or bust because it was one of those few years where it really lined up for them.
I respect that, and this is that year for you. Next year's not. Like, your quarterback's gone. Next year's no longer that year for you. That was this year for Mizzou. So that's what I'm lost with.
Here's where I think it gets complicated for people is when you start as well as Mizzou did. They were, 6-0, 5-0 going into...
They hadn't played SEC teams.
I know, but they had a big win against a Power 4 team in Kansas. And we said at the time, hey, like, Kansas is a decent football team. Like, that's
Agreed.
a good win. And once you start 5-0 or 6-0, whichever one it was, because I think they beat South Carolina too first,
5-0.
right? So 5-0, and then you beat South Carolina, you're 6-0. Now I think it is expectation should be, hey, maybe they can't, because really at that point we were saying, hey, you got to take care of business between Vandy and Oklahoma, I think it was at the time. I could see how all of a sudden you start to look at it and say, yeah, okay, do I really care about a bowl?
That you get to the playoff. The expectation was not. That's where I think that there has been something that has been misaligned here, or it's been lost in translation. The hope this year was to get to the college football playoff. The expectation from Vegas, who is a neutral observer of the talent on your roster, was very much not to get there. It was a 7.5 win regular season over-under for Mizzou. So neutral observer said, it's a rebuild year. You hope to reestablish yourself as an SEC contender. Maybe you take a step, but this is a rebuild year. And you looked at the roster, and that was very clearly the case. They had lost a ton of talent from a year ago. Now, they did a really good job in replacing some of those guys, most of those guys. But they missed on quarterback, potentially, and they missed on left tackle. And when you miss on 2 of the 3 most important positions on the offensive side of the ball, this is what it looks like. You end up as a team that, if everything went your way, you could win 9 games or so. It didn't go their way, and so here we are. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I would also add this, like, if you do view it as everybody's college football playoff or bust every year, then what are like 90% of college football teams doing? What's the point of watching 90% of your football teams going into any given season? Like, there's no point. So what are we doing this for?
I mean, I kind of feel I feel that way, and I think it started with the group of 5. Why do we have the group of 5 when one of them gets one playoff
I'm
spot?
talking about Power 5 teams.
I get it.
I'm talking about in the Big Ten this year. Why does anybody other than Indiana, Ohio State, or USC watch, or Oregon watch?
Because they're building towards the playoff at some point, hopefully. Like,
at
that's
some point
what
in the
it
next
is.
5 years?
I'm sure that's what they're all striving for. Otherwise, their coach will be out the door.
Sure, but this year, what were they watching their team for? What was the point? They played 12 games. They had an entire year of roster turnover, all this different stuff. They spent boatloads of money. What was the point? For what? Why'd they play? If none of this mattered, then what's the point of any of it? That's my frustration with where we've arrived for a lot of fans with college football. And again, if that's how you want to fan, I can't tell you how to do it. But for me, I'm not doing it that way, man. If Mizzou wins 8 games most years, and they have a couple of years, like over a decade span, they have 3 times where they've got a real shot to make it to the college football playoff. Dude, that's awesome. That's amazing. Those other years make those years that much more meaningful. Going through the crap is what makes the good feel good, man. You've got to be able to take the good in order to appreciate, or excuse me, take the bad to appreciate the good. And in college sports, it feels like everybody's just, no, we have to have the good. Don't give me any of the bad. I don't care about this. In fact, I reject the fact that this could even be a possibility for my program because my program is better than every other program. No, most of you aren't. Most of these programs are basically the same. So I think we've lost our way in college sports completely in every possible way. And
And I think college
Mizzou
sports
is
did
the
that.
example of this.
I think college sports did that to itself by it becoming such a money hungry, don't care about the conferences and the student athletes. I think college sports brought that upon itself.
The student matters first.
Nah, I'm not sure how much it really did prior, but I really think it doesn't matter now.
But you seem to be doing this based upon the playoff, right?
Well,
The
I think
expansion
it's
of the
both
playoff?
because it's both the playoff and college. Because they disassembled a Pac-12 conference where it was, hey, we've got West Coast teams on the West Coast.
I kind of agree with T-Bone there. Like they've taken away all the stuff that was monitored a successful season.
And when you have it was all about history, right? Like why do these teams play each other? Why does Iowa? And now they still play, but why does Iowa State still play each other there? Well, it's because of the history. There is a real rivalry there. We want to play, and we've seen rivalries just disappear.
And bowl games don't
because
matter
of money.
anymore.
Bowl games don't matter. Players made bowl games not matter. You know, that's where when the playoff expands more, it is really going to turn the heat on like a program like a Missouri, like an Illinois, to get there.
If the college football playoff gets to 24 teams, now you're going to have 6 teams in the SEC that are getting in or something like that. It becomes more reasonable to expect that. But if the playoff exists for 4 teams in the SEC and you're not one of those 4 every year, I don't think it's your birthright as a Mizzou fan to be one of those 4. And I say that as a Mizzou fan. I don't think it's Illinois' birthright to be in that Big Ten every year. It's, frankly, unlikely that Illinois is ever a part of that. If you didn't do it this year, the odds are against you ever doing it.
I'm clipping the Mizzou take.
So what's the point of watching Illinois football? The point is that football is awesome, dude. And, you get so many cool Saturday moments from it. And it's a communal experience. And there's 60,000 fans in the stands cheering on their alma mater or their team that they've spent their entire lives going to Champaign, Illinois to watch this team. And finally, we got a team worth rooting for. And on any given Saturday, we could beat Penn State. We could beat Ohio State. And you know what? For that day, that's all that matters. But now we've arrived at a place where that day it mattered, and then the next day it was a failure because we're actually only 6-3 right now, which means we are already eliminated from the playoffs, so we don't care that we beat Ohio State this year. No, dude, that matters. That win matters for you as a program. So anyways, I'll get off my high horse. I just think that when I heard this stuff on the fast lane yesterday, it bothered me, some of the way that it was being discussed with Mizzou specifically. And I think in college sports overall, they are running into a huge problem right now with this line of thinking. It's resulting in a ton of coaches getting fired. It's going to become worse before it gets better. And I don't know what the fix is here because T-Bone's right. These bowl games don't matter. So what are you watching for at this point in time if your team's eliminated, which is 85% of college football today? And if you're an SEC team and you're not one of Bama or Georgia, what do I do if my team's not one of the 4 that gets in on any given season? All right, we're going to double up here. Coming up next, we're going to play a game of Beat the Blues. Can you beat the Blues? 314-399-9646. That's the Your Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You are going up today against Braden Shin, and the winner is going to get a signed puck and tickets to see the Blues versus the Golden Knights. That's coming up on November 15th. That's this Saturday. So if you want to be a part of Beat the Blues, text in 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. Say, I can beat the Blues. We'll get you up against Braden Shin next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendricks here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues will be back in action tomorrow night when they host the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 7 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And tonight here on 101 ESPN Thursday Night Football for you as the Patriots take on the Jets. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 6:30 with kickoff at 7:15. The Sports Center update was brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
With Alex and T1 on BK, it's time for Beat the Blues. The winner today is going home with a signed Braden Shin hockey puck. Tickets to see the Blues versus the Golden Knights coming up on Saturday.
Better known as the BK Punishment Creation segment. Maybe somebody will come up with a good one today
loser
for
eats
us.
the rest of his sandwich.
Oh, no, that's in the trash by now.
Oh,
I am not feeling great.
Tommy, our boss, walked by and he goes, "Why are you trying to make him throw up in there?" And I said, "What?" I said, "It was masked by the onion
Did you
smell."
say it would have been gold for content?
He goes, "Well, I was watching it." I said, "Well, see, success." And then I go, "Don't go in the break room because the onions are in there."
A text line from the 314. We getting Believe It or Not today? Unfortunately, no. I do apologize.
Because you had to rant about Drinkwitz?
I know.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Somehow
I would have
our
to yell at
segment-
half of our listeners saying, "You're not a good college football fan. You're
yelled.
ruining my favorite sport."
You just told everybody that they need to stop wanting more and enjoy having mediocrity, and we just blew, believe it or not.
Hey,
This guy.
if you want me to, I can get even more philosophical on it and talk about how, like, eventually you've got to be good with where you're at in your life, and no, maybe you're not going to become a millionaire someday, and no, maybe you're not going to get your dream job, but that's okay. Settle.
But you just go
life is
Matt.
all about settling. And
the
as a
whole
Mizzou
sandwich.
fan, I've settled for being a Mizzou fan. If I wanted something more, I could change my allegiances, but guess what? That's not
should.
how I operate.
I do it
Anyways,
every year.
I will go ahead and
Except for the Blues, I'm always
save that for another day. That could be part of the
Tied to
dad
that.
pod, Alex. We'll get into that next summer.
Yeah, well, whenever you decide to commit to it.
We do this each week. You'll go up against a player from the St. Louis Blues. We've got 3 contestants today, Matt, Kirk, and Pete. They're going up against Braden Shin today, and as I mentioned, they'll get a signed hockey puck and take us to see the Blues versus the Golden Knights if they can indeed beat the Blues. We begin today with Matt. Matt, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. How you doing?
Doing good, thank you.
Absolutely.
Matty.
Now, why do you?
He doesn't
do
like
this?
Matt. Matty. Matt's done with this. All right, Matt, come on. Sorry,
Matt
Matt.
said, dude, I'm here to try to get that Braden Shin
I just
signed
want the
hockey
puck and the tickets.
I want to
Just
go see
shut
the
up.
Blues versus the Golden Knights. I really want to see Mitch Marner in town, so he's excited about
No,
that
he wants
game.
to see Ivan Barbashev, the guy that you demanded the team trade.
Jack Eichel. All right, Matt,
Who's
do
a
you
point per
understand the
game
rules
player.
of the game, man? Have you listened to this segment before?
Yes, yes,
All
I
right.
have.
Matt, you're going up against Braden Shin. Your category today, cities with at least 3 different sports teams. Cities that have at least 3 sports teams in them. Name as many as you can in 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
New York, Chicago, L.A., Tampa, blanket, Boston. That's great.
Don't feel too bad, Matt,
man.
because I guarantee this is going to be tough for Shen, too.
At first, I thought he said Austin, like Austin, Texas. I think he said Boston, right?
That's what, I thought he said.
Yes,
yeah, I thought he said.
I
Boston
thought
as
he
well.
said Austin. So.
I thought he said Austin. I was like, I don't think.
Do they have one?
3
Either way, now he
professional
said
sports
Boston.
teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, now we
He
give
did
him
say
the out.
Boston, so I got 5. Did you
That's
guys
what
have
I
5
had.
for him as well?
Yeah,
Matt,
Matty!
honestly, not a bad round for you, my friend.
This is a tough category.
Let's hear if Braden Shin knows his cities with at least 3 sports teams.
New York, L.A., Atlanta, not yet. Dallas,
That's a 4.
That's a forcer. Forcer? For enforcer. Forcer. It's been a long day
Did you
already,
eat
guys.
the sandwich? Did you not throw it away?
No, the fumes went to my head.
Atlanta. So they've got the Braves, they've got the Hawks, they've got the Falcons.
Yeah.
So they do indeed count.
Yeah, it's a
I
4.
can't believe you didn't say Philly. He played in Philly.
And he
That's a
skipped
good
Chicago.
point.
Yeah.
All right, so
Well, Chicago's the easy one. It's L.A., New York,
he got
Chicago.
4. Matt got 1. Matt, you're the leader in the clubhouse with a +1 thus far. Let's hear from Kirk. Kirk, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, guys. Enjoying this weather.
There we go.
Hey, yeah, you're not getting sick out there, are you, Kirk, because of all the cold the other day and how hot it is today?
No, I heard earlier. I'm not complaining about the weather.
Yeah, because you've got a grown-up immune system.
All right, Kirk.
And a 5-year-old with a sucker over here.
Too. Kirk, you are going up against Braden Shin today. Do you understand the rules of the game?
Yes, sir. I sure do.
All right, Kirk, your category today. Name as many different farm animals as you can in 15 seconds. Name as many farm animals as you can in 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
Chicken, pig, cow, horse, ostrich, emu, lamb, duck, goose.
There is no way in hell he's getting ostrich or emu. I am sorry. There is no way in hell that we are giving that to him.
There's ostrich and emu farms all over the country.
Come on. Kill me out of here, guys. Come on.
Have you never heard of ostriches?
Yeah, on a farm?
Yeah, where else do you think they are?
At a zoo. That's not a farm.
You think ostriches don't
How many
exclusively
people?
I got him
exist
at
in a
9.
zoo?
How many people have ostriches at their farms?
At an
all over the
ostrich
country.
farm.
Well, you do own an ostrich farm.
Kirk, I loved you, sir, but boy.
Or count it.
Ostrich
You know what? Hey.
farming in North America refers to the practice of breeding, raising, and managing ostriches for their meat,
go.
feathers, leather, oil, and other byproducts.
You know what? I've been outruled. I call bull
Their
hockey.
farming has become increasingly popular in North America due to the demand of alternative and sustainable meat sources.
And I was just told Grant's Farm has ostriches.
This just went really dark.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and that would technically be a farm.
That's a farm.
Also
So we got
the
9.
zoo.
That's
Sorry,
a really
I
good
think,
round by our guy,
I think
Kirky.
of a farm and I think of a farmer. But regardless, we'll give him 9. I was outruled. I'll step back.
Just never got far enough
How many
in...
farmers do you see at Grant's Farm?
I mean, a lot.
Get
It's
that.
called a farm.
It's a zoo.
Anybody that works there's a farmer.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, we'll move on. Kirk gets 9.
All right, let's hear from Braden Shin.
Sheep, pig, cow, horse, lamb, chickens,
Couldn't come up with ostrich or emu, huh, Shen? Guess he's never been to one of them farms.
Alex hates you, Kirk.
I don't hate
like
you, Kirk. I like you, Kirk. I just
and
don't
that's
like
a
the
winner
answer.
for you. You are our new leader in the clubhouse with
Maddie
a
gets
+3.
kicked out. Ugh.
Shin's really good at this for like the first 10 seconds. And then the last 5, he's like, that's what I got for you.
He's also like the second one that comes in on these, so it's super early in the
true.
morning. He had to put down his coffee when we did this with him.
All right, our last
still
contestant today
Yep.
is Pete.
Paste now.
Pete, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Petey.
we're doing great.
Hey.
Yeah, I like Pete already. Don't say ostrich or emu farm, Pete.
Pete, do you understand the rules of the game?
I do.
All right, Pete, your category today going up against Braden Shin, the captain of the Blues. Sports that can be played indoors. Name as many sports as you can that can be played indoors. On your mark, get set, go.
Baseball, boxing, football, soccer, hockey, volleyball, oh hell. Up to
Thank you for saying hell, Pete.
That was a very Braden Shin-esque performance by our guy Pete.
I had him at 6, right?
That's what I
got
had.
6 as well.
Can't this legitimately just be called sports you can play?
yeah.
Indoors.
Yeah, see, Pete got it. He liked that.
Well, Pete,
I
if you
almost said Jacks. Would that have counted?
Yeah, hell yeah, that
Sure,
would have
I mean,
counted
you
if we're
play
going
that
to count
indoors.
Man, I
ostrich
didn't want
farms.
to sound like an idiot.
If we're going to count emu farms, we're going to count jacks.
I don't think Jacks is considered to be a sport.
Oh, there's not competitive jacks. Let me Google and find competitive
I
jacks.
did it in PE growing up.
Name me an outdoor sport that you're only allowed to play outside.
Could you play like Quidditch inside? I think that's an outdoor sport. You got to be
People
on
play Quidditch in gymnasiums, probably. We got to go on what, by the way?
I'm done with this.
Horse
Let's hear
racing?
That's a good one.
Braden Shin. How many sports?
baseball, basketball, soccer, pickleball, racquetball, tennis, ping pong, hockey, football.
I got him with a 9.
I got him with a 9, so that means we have a.
Kirk! There we go, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's +3.
No, buddy. Braden
6
Shin
for
is a
Pete.
+3.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Your ranker's not mad at
Good job,
Kirk.
buddy.
Yeah. Would you celebrate Kirk's victory?
Oh, 6 got 6. Oh, no. Sorry, Kirk. Sorry, Kirk. It should have been +1.
6, 7.
6, 7.
That's where the emus and ostriches.
Yeah.
Kirk, why don't you go find a farmer and go check out his emus or ostriches?
Kirk, congratulations, man. We'll get your info off the air. You've won a signed Braden Shin hockey puck and tickets to see the Blues versus the Golden Knights. I don't think you're going to see any ostrich or emus there, but we will see you there on Saturday night.
Maybe go check out a moose at the next farm you go to.
Take it easy. Appreciate it.
Kirk was done.
It was a good round today. Good show today.
Also, is it ostri?
I think it's ostriches.
Ostriches? Ostrigi? Ostrigi. Ostri.
Plural ostriches.
Ostriches. Okay. Emus.
Plural
It's not
form.
emi.
I don't know, dude. The rewind is next here on 101 ESPN. If you missed anything from today's show, we talked about why Brendan Donovan is likely to be traded this offseason. We talked about the possibility of trading for Fernando Tatis Jr. We also heard from Joey Vitale on why you shouldn't complain about the weather. We talked about the Cardinals' catching plans. T-Bone said why he doesn't think that Ivan Herrera should be the catcher, and then me and Alex explained why he probably will be the catcher in 2025. Then I almost threw up on the air.
And then BK yelled at you about not having fun.
Exactly. I explained why, if you're a Mizzou fan and you think this year was a playoff or bust scenario, I think you're wrong. But I respect the fact that you can fan however you want to.
And then you heard Kirk basically, use emu and ostrich as a farm animal because that gets...
So all of that is on the podcast page after the show today. 101ESPN.com and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. And it's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
That 101 ESPN app is free to download, super easy to use, and it is sponsored by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Alex, tonight we've got the Patriots versus the Jets. This is our last time to talk about it on the air prior to you officially having to make the decision. You are still alive in your survivor pool.
Yep.
A lot of money on the line.
65 of us left.
Are you officially going to go with the New England Patriots?
I think so. I just don't know who else to go with that I'd feel more confident in that I haven't already chose. It's the one team. I just don't like the short week, and it feels like a trap game, but I also believe in what T-Bone has said to where it's like, look, they beat Joe Flacco and the Bengals, and they just came off of what? They beat I forget. The Browns. Like, that's the part where it's like, okay, that's what worries me. It's like the Browns at least have a really good defense, and they put 27 points up. Mm-hmm. That's probably why I'm nervous, but I don't know how you bet against the Patriots anymore. They just seem to be the smart team. And the better part of the survivor pool is I think like almost everybody in our league has the Patriots still available to them. So if I'm going down, ship's going down with me.
Yeah, I mean, the Browns won last week, and their quarterback threw for 55 yards. So I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
Means the Jets' defense is elite.
Patriots, it's okay. They lost their two best players. So I think you're in a good spot. I like the Patriots minus 13.5 tonight.
I do too.
I think not only do they win, but they cover that spread, and I don't have a whole lot of concerns about it.
I think I'm going to be turning off at halftime.
I hope
that much of a blowout.
That's kind of how I feel on this one as well.
The graveyard won some of my winnings.
Back in action tomorrow night against the Flyers. Then they will be in action again on Saturday, a back-to-back this weekend. So we'll certainly be previewing that for you guys tomorrow here on the show. We will have Mike McKenna, as we do each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario as well. Lots to get into with the guys. Also later on today, we'll have a new edition of the Redbird Report. We're going to be recording that here momentarily. So I'd say before 4 o'clock-ish, 5 o'clock, we'll have a new Redbird Report ready to go for you guys at youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. Also need to tell you, please continue to support the Countdown to Thanksgiving campaign. It's benefiting Operation Food Search. It's a really important thing, especially right now. Drop off the non-perishable food donations at any area Lee's or Hot Shots now through next Friday, November the 21st.
My email just kicked onto my music.
Free donation earns you a free Coca-Cola beverage. All the food then goes to Operation Food Search. It's helping out people here in our very community. Each donor also gets entered to win a prize package that includes gift cards to Lee's, Hot Shots, and hockey tickets. Get all the details right now at 101ESPN.com. For Alex Ferrario and Tanner Hendrickson, I'm Brandon Kiley. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. And thank God I don't have to eat another one of those sandwiches.
Maybe.
The Fast Lane's coming up next year on 101 ESPN.
Plate.